Rumble, YouTube, family, what's good? What's happening? I'm for whatever reason, man. I'm getting a hold of this thing. Yo, welcome to Flat Earth Friday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have everybody in the house as I get control of my computer and all the facilities in here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We're here on Friday. So you guys just saw my crazy grill, like a few hours ago, and we're doing it again. And we going hard in the paint. I ain't got work tomorrow. I ain't got nothing to do. So I mean, it's Saturday over. It's Saturday in some places. It's Friday over here. So welcome. You know what I'm saying? So, whoo, man, oh man, boy, am I excited. So tonight we have quite a few things on the lineup that I wanted to kind of go over. Some things that kind of pulled at my heartstrings and that I thought would be interesting to share with the family tonight. But before we get into those specifics and stuff, I wanted to go ahead and say what's up to the family. Let's see who's in here. Let's see who's in the house. Lumpy Gas in a Vacuum. What's going on? What's good? Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you guys start to come in, it's good to see y'all. Lumpy Gas in a Vacuum. I don't think I've seen you before, but as you figure your way in here, make yourself at home, relax, kick your shoes off. You know what I'm saying? Help yourself to anything in the digital fridge. Mi casa, su casa. Relax, man. Enjoy yourself while you're in here. Rethink Inc. I'm not Blackula. I'm not Blackula tonight. What's going on, man? Usually you be calling me Blackula or some shit. Count Chocula. Motherfucker, you got jokes. Welcome, man. It's good to see you, bro. Stand by, man. I want to chit chat with you for a little bit. The Akinator, what's happening, man? Yo, what's good? What's good? It's good to see you, man. The Akinator, Zach Sullivan, what's happening, man? Zach Sullivan lately has been coming up with a lot of good stuff, but I ain't even going to lie to y'all, man. I ain't even on that level yet, man. You know what I'm saying? My mind is like I'm sitting there looking, and I think it was Sean Alke that was out there like, look at Vladimir acting like he know what's up. Like, I ain't even going front, man. Like Zach Sullivan's been coming up with a lot of, I guess, good information, but it's like it's so advanced from me that I'm like, damn, I guess this is what stupid truly feels like when you really don't know something that's worth knowing instead of some fake shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's something worth knowing, definitely. A lot of stuff. And I'm sure Zach Sullivan could probably come and join us tonight and help present some of what he's found because it's quite interesting for those of you that are in the know and that understand and that are up to speed with certain things, especially if you're biblical scholars, I guess. Definitely some stuff worth looking at and some stuff worth discussing for sure. Plain and simple. What's happening, bro? It's good to see you. Hadn't seen you in a while. Flat Earth Warriors, what's happening, man? It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. And I'm glad to see that your channel's growing as well. That's what's up. It's good to see you. Anson Howard. Yeah, man. Hey, your internet, my internet. Usually I be having bad internet, but since we've been having the winter starting to roll around here and the leaves are coming down, propagation's been a lot better with getting to my damn dish. You know what I'm saying? So the propagation's much better, cuts right through the branches and stuff. So I've got better. If you guys have noticed, I've been having better internet, right? Nothing for everybody to complain about as I knock on wood. Get my sip right here. So I mean, Anson Howard, hopefully your internet is as good as mine, if not better. You know what I'm saying? ABC, what's happening, sis? It's good to see you. Very good to see you. All right, ABC. And where there's ABC, there is Sean Alke, right? Yep. Like clockwork. Boy, that bus is never late, huh? So ABC and Sean Alke, they roll like a pair. Yep. Yes, they do. God's watching this flat earth. He sure is. That's right. That's right. God is watching this flat earth. And he's not watching no ball earth because they're getting called for their BS day in, day out. Right? Junk fam, what's happening, man, with the lightning bolts? I love it. Junk fam, welcome, welcome, welcome. Shifty Shady. Hey, Shifty Shady, I haven't seen you in a long time. It's been a while. Probably the last 3 episodes or so. I haven't seen you. So welcome back. It's good to have you. Good to see you. And Saddle Bum, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Did I see you yesterday? Did I see you last night? I don't think I did. But anyway, it's good to have you. You know, Sucks when I don't see some of y'all. I'm like, damn, man, you guys missed an episode, but whatever, man. We make it up when we make it up, right? It's all good. I'm glad to see you guys starting to come in. I'm glad to see you guys coming in. And yes, I think that would work, Zach, is if I play that video. But then more than likely, Zach, you might have to come in and kind of give it some background, because if I try to explain it, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm gonna fuck it up. So there's that. You know what I'm saying? So before I get my dirty paws on it and ruin it, I think it would be best if you just came on and kind of explained yourself, instead of me like just, saying some stuff that's totally wrong. Yeah, no. You know, I was thinking, and I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys in the video what I was thinking. Some stuff came up in my head, and I was like, "Wow, this is funny. This is funny, and this is crazy, and it's weird, but things kind of gel." Anyway, that's what's so good about this flat Earth. That's what's so good about discussing the flat Earth and everything else, is that you start to make these small connections day by day with everything, the things you see, the words you hear, um terms you may have known of, right? Terms, just small terms, the Latin relations of these terms, and how they equate to things like the old world and the potential of this earth not being what we were told that it is. And I'll kind of explain a little bit further, but it's funny how just the words that you took for granted, now that we're looking back and we have to like re-examine everything that we were taught, the words, even the words have so much meaning to them. And like I said, many of these words we just took for granted, right? And man, it's just shaking up everybody's world. Everybody that's opening their eyes, or you're starting to see this place for what it truly is. Like, our whole world is just changing so fast around us. It's an exciting time for sure, for sure. But at the same time, it's almost like being born again, I'd say. It's like being born again and seeing things. You know what it's like? It's like starting the game over. You beat the game, you kind of beat the game, but you're starting the game over on God mode. So you already know what you know. Well, I can't say that, because you already know what you know, but your potential to learn more is like, I guess you could say it's increased, but then again, it's from a perspective of somebody that just forgets shit from time to time. So I don't know if that's a good thing for me to relearn everything at this age, because we're kind of set in our ways to some degree, right? We are who we are as people. So it's not like we're developing still like children, and then the potential for learning is infinite when we're children, where things kind of get limited and things get stuck in stone as we get older, right? As men and women. So um it's still an exciting time, and I mean, I do my best to open my ears, my eyes, and my heart to whatever comes, right? And to whatever is new, or whatever I thought was old, but it could be new again, because it's not what I once thought it truly was, i.e., this flat earth. And shout out to those guys out there like Jared Boosters and the Geomancies, My Lunch Break, and everything else. Even the what's his name? Infinite bright infinite bright insights, right? Jim Corsetti, guys like this, they always have new fresh material, things we may have thought of but we didn't fully grasp, and they kind of complete the circle of understanding to some degree, or at least they give us some time to fish things out and better understand them. Shout out to those guys, man, and shout out to anybody that has a channel to help increase in understanding and seeing this world for what it is, or what it could be, right? Because now we're just seeing that fucking we've been lied to about everything, and that sucks. But it's cool because we get to relearn everything. Shifty Shady. That's right. Much love, much love. Yeah. Thanks, sis. I appreciate that. Yeah, as y'all come in, man, like and share this material. I appreciate everybody for being here as usual. You know what I'm saying? Effed up world, what's happening, man? That's 2 in a row, baby. Two in a row for effed up world, but effed up world, I think you effed up world might be waiting for the final experiment to roll around before he starts dropping some beautiful gems. But typically, I love seeing your material, man. You haven't posted in a while, but anytime you do, man, I love jumping on it, seeing what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Junk fam, God's watching, Anson. Let me see what we got. American off grid. What's happening? Yeah, American Off Grid. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you here, but welcome. As you make your way in, please kick off your shoes, relax, help yourself to anything in the digital fridge. And mi casa, su casa. Please enjoy yourself as you enter, relax, chill while you in here. Roger Ledwell. This dude be assaulting his keyboard. Roger Ledwell, stay assaulting his keyboard, man. Anytime Roger get on the post, man, he just shut up and then he starts playing the bongos with the keyboards, man. Roger be all over that shit. You got the Kool-Aid man too. The True Few, what's happening, bro? It's good to see you. That's right. It's going to be a good Friday night, man. Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, man. I really do. I appreciate that. Thank you. And so yeah, the channel's growing. It's growing. I think it's growing at the pace that God wants me to deal with this channel at. Because if he would have given me like 5,000 subs, 1,000 subs even, I might not have managed it that well. Maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit, but I guess as you get what you get, you grow with what you got. You know what I'm saying? And you work with what you have, and then you get a little bit by bit, then you learn how to deal with what you got. Hopefully I wasn't that wasn't like me finger fucking the words and nothing like that, but hopefully I get what it is I'm trying to say. Bye to say hi. Oh man, damn. Roger Ledwell getting up out of here. Greg B, what's happening, homie? It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. New eyes with clarity. That's right. I thought you meant charity. My bad. Rum Ham, what's happening, bro? Rum Ham solo in the house. It's good to see you, man. As you guys come in, man, you'll smash that like. Know what I'm saying? Try not to hit the dislike, but if you do, man, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand. You know what I'm saying? So come in here, smash that like, show some love, And then another thing is that I do have my Rumble channel as well. There it is right there. Catch me on Rumble. If you haven't subbed to me on Rumble, please go ahead and subscribe to me on Rumble as well, because I'm there, and Lord knows what YouTube's going to do, what they're not going to do. We can't necessarily fully trust YouTube to do the right thing. So Rumble it is for now. You know what I'm saying? As a backup. And I guess slowly but surely, I'm going to start piecemealing my material over to Rumble as well. Ryan S, what's happening, fam? It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Ryan S is in the house, family. Always a pleasure to see Ryan S, man. Hell yeah. I like seeing the family coming on in here, man. Familiar faces in these spaces. It's like an episode of Cheers out this mug, As you guys come in, everybody got their name shouted out, and everybody knows who's who in the zoo, and it's a good thing, man. It's a good feeling of familiarity. Anytime I see a face or I see the name of you guys coming in, man, it make me feel good. You know what I'm saying? So as it makes me feel good, y'all can make me feel good saying what's up, and then also smashing that like. Oh, also at the same time, subscribe to me on Rumble. You know what I'm saying? If you've got a Rumble channel, if you've got a Rumble subscription, go ahead, subscribe to me, because I also post at the same time on Rumble. So while I'm over here live, I'm also live on Rumble as well. So you can always not Oh man, bro, I don't know how Not a Professor Dave does it, but it looks like he's still broke. I don't know how he see. This is what I don't understand is I don't know how you could still have how you could have a million zillion subs, but you still claim to be broke. You know, I know he lives in California, and California just trying to get along in California is rather difficult, but it don't make no sense to me. Not with the way YouTube be paying folks with a million like legitimate subs. They give you your little plaque, they give you everything else, and I'm sure they have some clause that if you put that little button up, the little YouTube button, right? They give you like a little stipend or something like that, probably an extra $200, something every month with your annual check or your annual check, but your monthly check, however which way your pay schedule is on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube they ain't send me shit yet. I'm sure one day if I break 1,000, they'll probably send me a cake with like a YouTube button on it, and it'll probably be a cake with either an explosion in it or a fucking poison cake. A rat poison cake. YouTube don't like me too much, boy. It's all good. When you start telling the truth, man, YouTube just is like, Vamoose, be gone. They don't like you at all. Bought subs, but has no views. That's crazy. That's crazy. I can't do that. I can't do that. You know, for everybody that comes in and like shows me love, man, it's much appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, and that's terrible. If you gotta buy people to watch your shit, uh, that's terrible, terrible, terrible. Yeah, exactly. They'll send me an invoice and ask me to pay them. Yeah, be like, hey man, we're gonna take this out your ass. Give us that. Like, oh fuck, man, I ain't got no money for all that. You know what I'm saying? American National Ebor, an American National Boar. My bad. BOR. What's happening? It's good to see you. All right, from the Rumble. Okay. I dig it. That's what's up. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Yeah, as you guys stream in, hit that like. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah, they're gonna send me a box of motherfucking cereal out this bitch and laced with poison. Laced with poison. 6 pet rats. I don't know, man. Like, I love animals. I love animals, but man, rats though? See, being from New York and then you see those rats over in the subway, especially too, just makes your skin crawl, man. Makes my skin crawl. Anytime I see rats, man, like all I'm thinking about is just how dirty New York is and just rats. Oh, let me tell y'all how bad the rat situation got in New York. During the cocoa season in 2020, people were locked down and all that. New York was basically quiet, right? The rats, the rats were out en masse. It was absolutely crazy. It was crazy. Ask anybody that lives in the city. Ask Lowry. Lowry could probably tell you. Alex Lowry, they could probably tell you that it was crazy with the rats. The rats were all over the street. As soon as the people went inside and everybody was quarantined, the mice, the rats, it was just madness, yo. It was madness in the streets of New York, and not with people either. It was rats. So if you owned a store, especially a store that was serving food, you know what I'm saying? Like a bagel shop, coffee shop, hot dog stand, anything like that, or a hot dog shop, little fast food or something like that. Them rats broke into the facilities and just ate everything. And people would open up their store to just like open up shop or just do an inspection. Them rats would just scatter all over the place. Man, I swear. ABC, I'm sorry. I give you mad props, but I can't do them rodents, man. I can't do them rats. I can't do it. I can't. But I love animals, but man, them rats are something different, man. No, I know it. I feel you. I feel you. I've done I did my best. I can't do it. Yeah, exact. There is. There is. Them rats, it's New York. It gets yeah. Yeah. That's true. It does get those rats dirty. It does, but yeah, I'm sure they can be wonderful pets. I bet because rats are supposed to be very smart animals. I get it, and you know what? I'm not denying that. I'm betting rats could be some great pets. Not for this motherfucker though. They're really like, mm-mm. I've got these wild birds that I feed every day. It was my internet. Female cardinals are red crest. So it's a couple. It's a female, it's a girl cardinal and a husband that show up. And it looks like grandma cardinal shows up too, because it's like an old ass cardinal girl that shows up behind them. And the girl cardinals tend to like just strike my window all the time, like, hey, motherfucker, wake up, get us our food. So I'm out there. I lay seeds down. I got a little bird feeder that all the finches come in and they start eating from that. You know what I'm saying? So I love animals. I love animals. But rats, I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. I could see why people would think they're disgusting. And I'm sure given time, I could probably get along with them, but right now, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I can't fuck with them. I feel you. Rats, they do want to live. Yeah. Big, huge cage. Can leave the door open and they will not even leave. Yeah, yeah. Because they but that's the thing. Rats are smart. The Iceman about the mom that would tie guys up and film them as the rats just God dog, man. Nah, man. Rats as big as rabbits, yes. Thank God they're not as big as jackrabbits, but yeah, man, yeah, yeah. Jimmy Satterfield, what's happening, bro? It's good to see you, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's good to see you, man. Rats were Biden's party running yeah, yeah. Them rats are in the White House, that's for sure. Rat or a mouse? Yeah, yeah. Oh, in New York City, especially, yes. Yeah. And the squirrels come around here and they eat the bird seeds too. And they've been messing up my damn pumpkin patch. I've been growing pumpkins outside and them squirrels mess it all up, man. And those deer mess it up too. I've got an ass ton of deer. Deer's always on the property, man. It's crazy. And so it's I'm tempted because I'm tempted because I got my rifle and anytime I see them getting close to my pumpkin patch, I let off a few rounds, but I can't see them all the time because when I go to sleep, they come around and they eat my shit. So can't grow nothing with them damn animals around, man. But it's all good. It's like I'm like a black Snow White out this motherfucker, man. A black, what's that? Is that Snow White where she sings hee hee hee, and then she got the seeds in her hand and shit, feeding the birds, animals. Around here, you can feed the birds. The birds let you feed them. Like I fed them from time to time, but it takes a while. You know what I'm saying? You put the food in your hand, and then I just don't look up. I just let them. I just have my hand up. I switch hands because my arms get tired, and then I switch hands. I just stay there for a while. They get used to me. Then they'll like land on my hand, take a few seeds, fly off because they're like, man, this dude's gonna squeeze his hand, try to catch us. But yeah, you can feed birds, wild birds out here. They're not so bad. They kind of get used to you. Yeah, raise meat rabbits. Great. Yeah, yeah. I could see that. Yeah, rabbit is good. 2 rooms in the house are for her rodents. Oh God. Oh, they are for your rodents. Oh no. River rats. Yeah, like neutral rats. But neutral rats are like something different. And a lot of neutral rats you would find down in down in LA, like Louisiana and stuff, down in the swamp area. Tony Coriolis. Hey, Tony, what's happening, man? So, Tony Coriolis, if you guys don't know, for everybody that's part of the anti-Cathera teams, we've set up we set up a Microsoft Teams team. And so check everything out. It's good to see you, by the way, Tony. Very good to see you. It's been a while. Check out the Microsoft Teams link. I'll resend it again if you're not part of it, because we're staffing the teams, right? We have like 5 different teams. No, Yeah, it's 5 or 8 different teams or something like that. I forget. Um, in which we're starting to staff these each and every one of those teams with individuals. And of course, there's going to be like somebody managing or two people managing each team. And yeah, it's just a process. It's a process. But yeah, it's moving along. It's moving along. We've got our engineering team. These guys are already working. You know what I'm saying? But we're starting to get things in order. Yeah, I could put up a fence. I could put up a fence. But I mean, there's so much land over here. I prefer not to. But I don't want to kill him either. T Smith, what's happening, Holmes? It's good to see you, bruh. It's good to see you. A good thing to do, Zach Sullivan, what you could do is take spray everything with like soap. Spray it with soap. If they start eating everything with soap, they die. So they'll think twice about eating stuff with soap on it. Spray it down with soap. It's good, man. It's good. I'm over here chilling with the fam. And I'm about to roll into everything here shortly. But as you guys come in, guys, make sure that you hit that like. Smash that like. We're pushing for 100 likes tonight. Let's go for 100 likes tonight, baby. 100 likes. I'd love to see it one day. I prayed to God. I was like, dear Lord, please. I know I'll be messing up every day, but let me get 100 likes sometime soon. He's like, I'll think about it, my son. He's like, you right. You do be messing up most of the time. And I'm like, yeah, I know, man. I know. I know. I know, Lord. I don't call him man. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, as I was saying earlier, there were a few things that I'd been watching, and lately these videos have been getting better. So, first of all, I want to shout out a couple of channels, right? Terry Iker and his Flat Out Truth. Everybody knows Terry Iker, right? Good evening, everybody. You know what I'm saying? So Terry Iker, um, my lunch break. These are guys that I talk about all the time. Um, Feed Your Mind. This is Feed Your Mind TV. And so everybody knows Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know, deep ass voice brother on Feed Your Mind TV. Feed Your Mind. Shout out to him as well. All the time. You already know Flat Earth Banjo, right? Eddie Allen Carr always has something. And I like watching everybody's stuff. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to their channels. Flatsoid, shout out to Pete, PJ Cruikshank. Shout out to Roger Ledwell and everybody else. A lot of these guys come up with stuff every single day, damn near. And a lot of their material just keeps getting better and better and better. And all these guys that I named, if you hadn't subbed to them already, you got to. And of course, everybody knows the solid ones. Everybody knows the Sovereign Soul Minds, right? Everybody knows Sav. Everybody knows these guys. These guys are starting to become staples in the flat earth community. And shout out to them because they steady having good stuff. But a lot of these newer channels, the Roger Ledwells, the PJ Cruikshanks, right? The one that I'm now getting more familiar with, the Flatsoids and everything. These guys are always coming up with new and good material that if you don't watch it, I highly recommend that you guys take a peek at it, right? Um Flat Earth Warriors, he's another one, man. He's another one that I've been checking out and I've been like, okay, I just subbed to him recently. Jim Anus, Jim Anise. I like calling him Anise because anytime I say Jim Anus, I feel like I'm trying to ridicule him, which I'm not. But Jim Anise does a lot of material on the moon itself. So shout out to these guys. I've been really looking at you guys' material, and I don't think a lot of you guys get your fair share of coverage, right? Where people are shouting you out. So I wanted to do it. But also shout out to John Thor for making that video that like showed everybody's channel that he knows of, right? And it's amazing. And highlighting what No Longer on the Balls Flat Earth channel, right? Or True Earth Wiki, which if you don't have the True Earth Wiki, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop that link in here. And before we move on and continue tonight, I'm going to show you guys how I use it. Boom. Right here. I don't think No Longer on the Ball is admin on that wiki page. I think he kind of let it go and he's giving it to somebody else to take care of. It's somebody else's baby. Yeah. It's somebody else's baby right now. So it's still up though, and it's still true to what it's supposed to be, right? A true Earth wiki still. So there goes the link right there. And as you guys come in, please hit that like. Please hit that like. So there goes the link. I'm going to show you guys how it works real quick before I start going into the videos. T. Smith. Yeah, man. Roll the weed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ghost of Judah. Yeah, Ghost of Judah tribe. Definitely. The Ghost of Judah. Ghost of Judah is the one that put me on. So if you're not sub to the Ghost of Judah tribe, make sure you sub to him. He is also a flat earther and a brother, right? And you don't find too many of us in the community. I mean, of course, you got the Bro Sanchez's. Everybody knows and loves Bro Sanchez. Everybody knows and loves D Marble. But we nobody knows the Ghost of Judah tribes that well, unless you're a Bears fan, which everybody that's a Bears fan knows the Ghost, right? Not too many people are starting to come around to my channel, and hey man, it's cool. My time will come. I'm not even worried about it, man. I'm good with who I have, and slowly but surely this channel will grow. So I'm satisfied where I am, right? And I'm happy with what God blesses me with. um but yeah, ain't too many brothers out in this community. Ain't too many brothers, and I could tell you, um a lot of folks, a lot of black folks are very leery on the flat earth. And here's why. Like, it's not that we're not crazy. We know that there's conspiracy out there, especially us as black folks, right? A lot of times the government be plotting against us. They just do. That's just what it is. It is what it is, right? But a lot of black folks don't believe in the flat earth. I don't understand. You figure this would be something that we'd instantly gravitate to. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of black folks do not, do not go to the flat earth because many of us, I feel, are afraid of ridicule. I mean, we've dealt with everything else that's not good, but the ridicule is one of the things that we just don't need, right? And so many of us feel that, oh, the flat earth is something that, them folks have set up and everything else. And so we don't think that it's anything valid. So you'll find a lot of black folks that feel that the flat earth is not good. That's the best English word that I could come up with, even though I'm American. But yeah, and a lot of black folks don't see the value in understanding why understanding that this earth is truly flat is so important, especially black folks that read the scriptures, especially those that call themselves Bible scholars, right? A lot of us feel that understanding that this earth is flat is senseless. It doesn't make any sense. It's not necessary for anything. Anyway, here's the True Earth Wiki. What you do is you come over to this main page, you click on this, right? Boom. As soon as you come here, you've got this long ass list of everything. And of course, here, this will show you your people, your flat earth creators, content, scientists, discoveries, and shills. Wow, that's an amazing one. Flat earth shills. Huh. Historic people, modern people, content creators. Well, I haven't seen shills. I did not know that. Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Year born. Oh wow, it's funny. It's like these people are waiting for these people to die. 1955, 1958, waiting for these clowns to die. Wow. Okay. Historic people. Albert Einstein, Charles Darwin, Eratosthenes, right? Richard E. Byrd, Copernicus, Werner von Braun. Wow, okay. Henri Poincaré. Oh, okay. I'm sure there's more people that we could add to the list, but hey, these guys have yeoman's work on their hands, and they've done a bang up job putting this all together by itself. Oh boy, let's see. That's historic people, modern people, content creators. That's us. And hey, here's the long list right here. Super long list. Let's see. The date added. Channel content creator. Okay. Wow. So the 6th. Okay. So there is, okay. There's nothing that's been created for some of these since, let's see. Okay, August, September was the latest, it seems like. And I know we've got new channels since then, right? September, Flat Earth Andy. That's a cool one. 6. Okay, 3, 3. Wow. Wow. So, okay. Yeah. It looks like September so far is the last time anything's been updated as far as content creation. I'm going to take my guess and say it's been, let's go down. Let's look. Yeah, it's been around September, fam. It's been around September. And I am sure, I do know that there are other channels that have come around since then, right? Since after September. We come back to y'all. And this flat earth community, especially with the content creation, has been growing. You know what I'm saying? I don't eat animals. I've never had a squirrel. Can't believe people would eat them. Squirrel is actually pretty good from what I heard. Yeah, squirrel's pretty good from what I heard. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I heard squirrel's real good, especially with gravy. Damn. Mm, mm. Yep. About to roll some herb. You only know goes to Judah tribe. Yeah. And Carrie Skates, salute. Good to see you, family. And yes, John Thor is amazing. He's amazing. He's really, really good. I'm glad that I found his channel. I'm glad that I found every channel that I've come across, and there's many yet to come. You know what I'm saying? There's many yet to come. I know this. And even I haven't seen Crow 777 radio just yet, but I know that Flat Earth Dave talks about him and my lunch break. Crow 777 radio, it's Crow with like 3 R's, and he talks about them all the time. He loves them. So I haven't checked them out, but I've checked out my lunch break, and he hasn't disappointed yet. I love that channel. Every time my lunch break comes on, I put that on, and I might watch that episode like 3-4 times because I'll use it as background noise too to watch. That's how you know you like a channel. You know what I'm saying? Damn, you rolled 9 blunts. Damn. ABC smoking blunts like that. Your lips probably look like Barack Obama's lips. Smoking blunts like that? Shit. Your lips probably looking like Lionel from the Jeffersons' lips. T. Smith, I appreciate you, fam. Hey, ABC, I'm just playing when I say shit like that, right? So when I see Tomb of Illumination, I'm not gonna lie to you, Reggie P56, and welcome Reggie P56. It's good to see you, bro. I don't like it sounds good, but a lot of it, like it's missing for me. A lot of information I don't understand. So I'm not gonna say I get the things I get, I'll say I get. The things I don't get, which is a lot of other stuff, I don't get. I do not get it. I don't get it. But here's the thing, like a lot of this stuff you have to have a good working knowledge with things like electricity, magnetism, which I thought I had a good working knowledge of electricity. I used to be an electrician, a Navy electrician way back in the day, right? Before I became a diver, I was an electrician. And I thought I had a good working knowledge of electricity, which I don't, which I thought I did. I don't, right? Even though I understand theory quite well, and I understand how to not get my ass shocked, and I understand how to change out the right fuses and everything else, and lay some wire down effectively, I don't understand it as well as I once thought I did, right? So when I see these guys like when I see these guys describing things and basing them off of things like the right hand rule, right? Motion and the right hand rule with this right here, motion, flux, and current, right? Motion, flux, and current, right? This right hand rule and not this right hand rule, right? When I see them describing things like that, like I'm like, okay, I understand that principle, but in the context in which certain folks may put certain things, it it's not it's clicking in that I understand one thing, but I don't see the other side to it. So my time needs to come. Ultimately, my time just needs to come. And I don't know if that's how you guys feel with some of this material. Like, but it's advanced. I'm not so, in other words, Reggie P56, I know that was long winded, but I'm not saying that Tomb of Illumination is bogus, but it takes a little bit more understanding of many other aspects of what this realm is in order to better understand his material. Does that make any sense? Oh, T Smith, I'm 45. I'm 45. So you're 17 years my senior, brother. You are 17 years my senior. It's all good, man. We're all family in here. And everybody gets respect. Everybody gets respect in here. I don't disrespect anybody. Unless you coming in here with that BS, man, then we're gonna have to fight. ABC, that's right. Please sub to ABC if you haven't already. ABC's growing. She's on the way. She's about to break a K. She's about to break 1,000. So please sub to ABC's channel. Please sub to ABC's channel. Yes, yes, y'all. ABC's got a good channel too. Lord Jamar, that's right. Oh, is Lord Jamar here? Shit, if Lord Jamar was in here, that would be what's up, man. I'm saying bring Wu-Tang up in here. Bring Wu-Tang up in here. Shame on a note. Try to run game on a note. I remember you Wu-Tang when I was a kid, man. I used to rock that. Seven Bomar, then to Bro Sanchez. Eventually came here. Yeah, man. Bro Sanchez, I like Bro Sanchez's stuff. You know what I'm saying? But Bro Sanchez he be going deep. Like he be going deep. And I'm like, there's some stuff in there that I'm like, I don't think I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's got a big following, and just because you have a big following doesn't mean you're right. And there's nothing wrong with that because he's rocking on his wave, and I respect it. But there's some stuff in there that I'm like, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. But I like his channel. I think it's mad entertaining, and he's got a real good setup, and he's got a lot of stuff that I agree with, right? Ultimately, here's the thing, family. Ultimately, here's the thing. The part of everything that we know is that this earth is flat. We know that, right? But then you have many other channels that think that the earth is doing one thing and is doing something else, and it's rising and it's deflating and it's doing something and it's on fire. I mean, other people have other theories as to what else this earth is doing, but where we all have common ground, and I guess you could say pun intended, right? Is that this earth is flat. And that alone is beautiful. That's beautiful that we can at least agree with that, right? Anyway, so that was the uh True Earth Wiki. That was the True Earth Wiki. Stop sharing that right there. Yeah. Pinky Lives Matter. I know a black. Okay. All right. We're starting to come out. Black flat earth people are starting to come out, you know. Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, they got a list. They got a list. They got a list. And so I don't know if ABC, I don't know if you're on there, but I'm gonna check. You know what I'm saying? And I was just joking about you having Barack Obama lips. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anytime you could tell a lot, there's some black folks that smoke a lot because their lips got this like their lips is dark. You know what I'm saying? Like I got dark lips, but you can still see the red. You know what I'm saying? Or the pink in them. Like their lips is like they skin is normal complected, and then they lips is like this right here. Look black like my mustache and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know that there are brothers out there and sisters that they lips is mad like dark, extra dark than their face is complected dark. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know. And then the crazy thing is when white folks get them dark ass lips, like black folks, I'm like, you smoke too much. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it, but it looks like they got like they put a dark lipstick on. That's not what happens. What happens is you've got a O2, you've got an oxygen shortage in your appendages, right? In your fingertips and your lips. So your lips are like a darker color because they're not getting a full amount of blood in them. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, T. Smith. I appreciate that. I be working on them shits by myself, so I look like a total lunatic in my house anytime I'm doing an impersonation. Damn, you smoke around 15 blunts a day, ABC? Damn, I feel you. It's medicine, but God, dog, ABC be in there just burning shit. Oh yeah, she be burning that herb. She burned that herb. She burn that ganja. Yeah. Dr. Bose, welcome, family. It's good to see you, but Dr. Bose. Dr. Bose knows and got all the hoes. Pantyhose, that is. So, Dr. Bose, yeah, go ahead and post your Facebook group. Go ahead. I'll go ahead and I'll highlight it. Do your thing. Go right ahead. It's good to see you too, Dr. Bose. Ken Wheeler's 7-part lecture. Okay. Yes. Yeah, that's a lot. Yo, Zach, that's a lot, bro. There's a lot of information. And so I think, yes, we need to read a lot. We need to read a lot, learn as much as we can in order to let these things make sense, for these things to make sense. So electricity, I feel, works the same way water flows, right? The way water flows in a pipe, the way water flows in a pipe, butterfly valves allowing water to flow, check valves allowing water to flow in one direction and not in the other direction, right? Um, current in a pipe, the Venturi effect. I guess if you throw like I forgot the name. I think yeah, if you throw an inductor in there, right? Stuff like that. Like water in a pipe and a hose works the same way. Would I guess you could kind of compare water in a hose to electricity in a conductor. A conductor being a wire. You know what I'm saying? They kind of flow. Well, in our minds they would flow. Some people argue that electricity does not work like water at all, that we've got it all wrong. And maybe this is why it may be because this is how I learned electricity. This is how many of us learned electricity, right? But maybe they might be right. They might be right. Maybe there's a different way in which electricity works, a different way in which we could better understand it, right? And we could get different results for different things if we understood electricity different. Not even better, just different. Maybe. Yeah, you got it, ABC. Learning discipline is more important with all drugs. That's right. Put in body. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Tomb of Illumination is hard to tune in for more than 10 minutes, but some good stuff. Yeah. The stuff that you could grasp. Everything else, oftentimes for the lay mind, like mine, is like, could be out there. But if you're ready for the information, you're ready for the information. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Cannabis is like drinking tea, which I just had my tea tonight. I feel you on that. Live streams on Angela's on ABC's. Okay. Good tea is a hit. Yeah. Flat power. Yeah, that's right. ABC, that's right. Just sub. There we go. Okay. Yeah, man. Y'all throw y'all if you guys go through that list of people or that list of channels on the True Earth Wiki and you don't see a channel in there, let the admins know, right? Let them know so then they can put those channels in there. If we have more channels out there, and I'm sure we do because this thing hasn't been updated in like 2 months, then this thing should be consistently being updated, right? There's no reason why we shouldn't have access to all these channels. But hey, shout out to the person that put this together because that was a void that needed filled, in my opinion. Yeah, you lost count. Yeah, just make sure you have your alerts on. And for all y'all that have alerts on, when I come live, man, shout out to you. Shout out, salute. You hear me? Salute, salute. Two salutes. Psh, the double salute. Yeah, that flat earth wiki, that true earth wiki is fire. That's all we really know is that this realm is flat. That's right. And that's what we agree on. Many channels I enjoyed a few months ago have went off the rails. Dramas or politics BS. Yeah. Yeah, carry skates, yeah. Sometimes I've done the politics, but then I revert back to the flat earth, right? Because I look at it like this. I look at it like this, carry skates. Um if those politicians aren't talking about the flat earth, they're full of shit. I know they ain't about shit because we're not the smartest. Maybe you guys are. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I know this. I understand that. But I understand the criticality behind why knowing that this earth is what it truly is so important. So important as as far as our development as human beings, especially now, is why it's so important. So, um, if you don't understand that this earth is flat, then you're going to be stuck in the matrix watching TV all day, not giving a fuck about anything and only like worried about your paycheck. If you do understand this earth is flat, you understand that you truly have infinite choices. And it's not a corny and cliche thing to think, right? You do understand that there are consequences with your actions. And you can truly believe that because you can understand that this place is intelligently designed. This place is designed with a purpose behind it. What that purpose is, we can speculate all day. But we can see with how this place is built that there is a method to the madness, that whatever built it had something planned, something in mind, right? So then, if this is all a game of sorts, then every game has rules, right? Whether there's no rules and that's the rule, or some rules, which we do our best to pass things forward, to take care of our fellow man and woman. And so we do our best to do things within reason on a day-to-day basis, right? And manage our comfort level at the same time. Sometimes you get outside of your comfort level just to make sure that the person next to you is doing better. And so we think we're doing right. And that's okay, right? And then sometimes we go back to who we are and we remain comfortable, which that's okay too, just as long as nobody's getting hurt in the process, right? And we're doing our best to be honest next to the person next to us. Anyway, all that to say that understanding the flat earth allows us, it allows for us to grow, to truly grow. And it's not being corny either, you know, and not faking it, because when you're on the ball, you're faking it, you're unsure. Every day you're unsure, and you think you got it all figured out, but you truly don't. Which I'm not saying that we have it all figured out, but at least we know what we're not on. And that right there helps. That helps a lot. You have counter electromagnetic force. You have counter electromagnetic force though. So you have to think electricity is already there is potential. Yes. Think about Moses throwing the staff down and it becoming a serpent. You see, I ain't gonna lie to you, Zach Sullivan. I get it. Sure, it turns into a serpent, but I don't know how that has to do with electricity. I don't see what I mean. A different way. I could have peed the electric fence. Oh God, Ren and Stimpy. So the universe is electric. People say the universe is electric. People say it's magnetic. I guess in order to have some sort of electricity, you take the magnet, you put it around a conductor, and you move it, kind of like this motion right here, and then you generate electricity, or you bring about an electricity. That's how I guess they call it the electromotive force. Yes. So, or that's one of the ways to produce electricity. One of the ways, not the only way. And electricians keep one hand in their pocket. I did not know that. I never did that. Maybe the street electricians. Sure. Barry White smoked 150 cigarettes a day. God damn. It's probably what helped him keep his voice so deep. Honor the witness. Yeah. No progress in politics. None. They're all there to do that bullshit that they do. They're all fake stooges anyway. Lauren Boebert brought it up. Couldn't tell if it was a coded talk or a shot at Fe. You know, each time they show Lauren Boebert and her clip where she talks about the Earth is flat, that's a good point, Reggie P56. I don't know if that was a shot at the flat Earth, but I kind of think that if it was, it wouldn't surprise me, because we're the only ones talking about it. But then again, if it's not, then that wouldn't surprise me, because she tends to be more on the right side, and really the only people that are talking about it in politics, right, or that typically would be in politics, are right leaning, or they seem to be right leaning folks. um and so this is why I say, many black folks in the black community that don't understand the flat earth look at it as something that only people that aren't black do commit to, right? I know that because I'm black and I speak with a lot of black people, obviously. But a lot of black folks they talk that Hotep talk. See, you don't understand because you don't understand the Egyptian man knew that the earth was a ball, because what you need to know is that Isis came and took Horus, found his penis in the ground, and then put him together like a Lego set. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we have the sun and the moon. See, that's why 93 million miles, you take the 9, you add the 3, you've got what number? 12. The 12 tribes of Israel. You know what I'm saying? But then you add that 1 plus the 2, what do you have then? You have 3. And after you got that 3, what does 3 mean? 3 is 1, 2, 3. The Trinity, the Holy. And then I got to hear that bullshit, and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, you got it all fucked up. As soon as you said the earth was a ball, I tuned out. I tuned out, Mr. Hotep Hustler. I tuned out. So then you have a lot of black folks that do that, right? And a lot of black folks that will give our community credit where we don't know if this is the truth or not. We don't. And I'm not trying to take credit away from anybody. I'm not. But I mean, my thing is to just understand what the truth is. Who did what when, right? Really, that's all. I don't give a fuck what color you are. Whoever built a lot of these structures, right? A lot of these structures, we find them everywhere. We find them all over this place. We find them in Africa, we find them in Europe, we find them in China, right? We find them in the Caucasus areas, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, all those Stan countries, except for Stan Laurel. Get it? Laurel and Hardy, Stan Laurel. For all you grown folks out there, you guys know what I'm talking about. But all the stands, you have all the same structures. Everything is consistent. So to just sit there and give credit to one group of people would be totally disingenuous, right? And to think that we have, and this is the thing, is yes, I'm proud for the things that we've done as black folks. Yes, I'm very proud, right? I'm proud to see the things that we've accomplished as human beings. I'm very proud, man. It's good to see smart people get out and do shit. But then at the same time, I don't want to take credit for some shit we didn't do. I don't want to take credit for some shit that we didn't build, we didn't commit to. Like that would be that. And this is the thing, is when you come into the flat earth, you start to see that a lot of the things that you once thought was true isn't true. So a lot of the things that you once thought was true, you're going to have to scrap. It's hard. So that's difficult. And then trying to explain this to many black folks, like you get yelled at, and you get called the Uncle Tom, and you get called this and everything else that you don't like to hear as a black person. But it's the truth, right? So really, at the end of the day, I'm on the side with the truth. I'd say one of the better, not even one of the better, but a good channel to watch is the Metatron. The Metatron is an Italian guy with long hair, and he does a lot on medieval this and medieval that. And he's looking for the truth. Now, I don't agree fully with him, but a lot of what he digs up and finds is interesting. And so my thing is I wouldn't even know what to compare his findings with, because we're in the here and now. It appears that a lot of the stuff that we once thought is buried and gone, right? And everything has been built on top of that. And a lot of these things we don't have access to, or we don't know how to get access to, unless we dig up this earth to figure some shit out. Um, and so then the past is now the past. And really, the only thing we have to rely on are those that are still living, that are super old and losing their memories, like Ruth with David Weiss, right? And or many books that are out there that we don't have access to because they've been taken by the Vatican, or they're being destroyed, right, systematically by YouTube. And Sav brings up a really good point. Uh, Sav Soul Unchained Mind brings up a really good point. YouTube, not YouTube, but rather Amazon has what? Their Kindle, right? And they double down. They call that bitch the Kindle Fire. They take all the books and they put them on this electronic iPad device, iPad like device. He calls it, he's like, what do they call it? They call it a Kindle. I'm like, yeah, it's Kindle, big deal. Dude, they're burning the books, right? And I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's a really good point. It's a really good point. And you get to see a lot of this take place when you go to stores like Amazon. When you go to the Amazon store and then you're trying to buy a good book, right? Like I just bought an Ethiopian Bible, and it has, you know what? The Ethiopian Bible I bought had 157 books in it. The traditional Ethiopian Bible, I could be wrong, but the traditional Ethiopian Bible that I know of has 88 books in it. I was like, that's weird. Where did these other 89 books come from? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, freaking 79 books come from. Where did these other 79 books come from? I've never heard of 170. But here's the thing, we've known that the Vatican, or we've been told that the Vatican has taken all these books and hid them, right? And so what we're left with is a skeleton of a scriptures, a skeleton of a Bible at the end of the day. But I've got this book, and I paid significantly less than what I would pay for an Ethiopian Bible, or what people call an Ethiopic Bible. The Ethiopic Bible, the traditional Bible, has the apocryphal books in it, has the Book of Enoch, Jubilees, Book of James, all those books that I guess you could say are not canon. They are removed from the Bible, right? A lot of the Judah of Maccabees, all these strange books that we're not typically used to if we're used to reading the King James regular, or the King James Bible, or the New King James Bible. Um, as a Catholic, I know that I grew up reading the Bible with those books, many of those books in them, and they call that a Catholic Bible. These Catholic Bibles are typically older Bibles. I don't know when they stopped making that type of Bible with all those other books in them, but it's like the old King James version Bible, which the Ethiopic version is like got all of them books in there. 88 books though. But then you go to eBay, that book is 150 bucks for that Ethiopic Bible. 150 bucks. I've got one with 177 books in it for $45. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? Why did that happen? And I went through it. I just picked it up yesterday. Rather, it came in the mail yesterday. I go through it, and as I'm combing through it, I'm noticing that some of the words, the wording is like different. Reading Genesis 1:4, um, they're talking about God on the second day separating the waters from the water. I think it was the second day, if I'm not mistaken, right? Um, Separating the waters from the water, firmament above, firmament below. And they don't call it a firmament, but they call it an expanse, which I guess that's fine because there are some Bibles that call it an expanse. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool. I go to the Psalms 19:1, right? Heavens declare the glory of God, the firmament showeth his handiwork. That's what we're used to hearing. That's what we're used to reading. That's what we're used to seeing. They call it um I think it's the expanse. I'll go look at it here in a second. But yeah, they call it something different. And I'm like, wow, I wonder if this thing is all a setup. If they're giving me this Ethiopic Bible to sit there and read, meanwhile, it doesn't have the traditional words that us as flat earthers are used to seeing in the Bible. It does it catches it it's caught me off guard. But anyway, saying all that to say that yes, they're systematically burning the books. A lot of information that we can get to help us better understand where it is that we can live or that we do live, you would find in these books. And it doesn't here's the thing is we don't know all the books that you would find this information in. Probably you'd find a book on botany, right? And then it would bring us closer to to understanding this flat earth because it would show us certain principles on growing things that maybe we didn't consider, especially if you're a green thumb. You may at that point put two and two together and be like, oh wow, this helps me understand this earth a little bit better. So it brings you closer to understanding this whole enigma that is the earth that we live on, right? And all the principles that govern the things that we see that we can't make sense of, like the stars and the sun, and why trees sprout the way they do up top and then down below, right? So it's crazy. Once realize, yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, I'm gonna put that in there once more, Zach. Okay. Think the buildings are like 90% of all. What do you mean, T. Smith? 90% of all what? Of everything? Since those been the papers and books been making academia. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Because a lot of the academics have been teaching us the same bullshit, but they believe it. They sincerely believe their bullshit that they're teaching us. Like they eat it up, they believe it. And the thing is if you challenge them, like they'll try to smite you down by saying, "Hey, I've got a degree in this. You haven't even graduated. You barely graduated high school. What are you talking about? I got a degree in this thing. I spent my whole life talking about this." Let's see what we got. We got Zach Sullivan in the house. What's happening, Zach?
What is going on, man? I didn't hear you calling me out if you were calling me out.
Oh, nah, man. Yeah. I dropped the link, man. Welcome to the show, man. It's good to have you on, man. Good to see you.
I am here. I got my Christmas tree up over here. I don't know if you can see that. It's not even
God,
Thanksgiving.
dog, man. You got a whole bowling alley in your house, man. It's big as hell.
This is my garage, man. This is my garage.
God dang,
So
that's a lot of garage, man.
I know.
You could fit Goliath in there. Remember Goliath on Knight Rider?
I don't remember Knight Rider, man. Well, I
Oh,
remember Kit,
sorry.
but I guess I don't remember it that well.
Yeah, Goliath was Michael Knight's bad guy. He was like his doppelganger, but he was a bad guy. He was Michael Knight with a mustache. Yeah.
I got you. I'm trying to think if I can lay this down. Does this work?
Yeah, we got you.
Good deal. So what were we talking about? Oh, I wanted to, because we're going to pick up on what we talked about the other day, right?
Okay.
Because when I was on the show Tuesday, there was a couple things that I wanted to point out. from the show that we talked about in there, and one of those was what was it? The idea of Israel, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I had sent you that because we were talking about the tribes of Israel when they in Numbers 2, and this was the first time that I opened up this book of Numbers, right? So this
Right.
I'm just starting in on my study of these biblical numbers, and the heck was I going to say? I'm losing my place. Oh, but if anybody watched that show on Tuesday, I had kind of crossed up some things when I was talking degrees, right? So I kept saying percentage instead of degrees. But yeah, I guess I can follow up with some of the things. It's hard for me to flip my screen. I don't know if you can play that video, and then I can maybe.
Let me and then you could talk about it.
Yeah, and then I can talk about it afterwards. That would be easier because I can't. The way this comes up, I can't flip my phone around.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm getting it right here. Where we at? Zach. Okay. All right. Hold on. Okay. So I got it right here. Let me go ahead and present. Share screen. Window. Boom. Boom. Okay. Can y'all see that? Can you see that? Hey, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. Let's see. Boom. All right. Okay. Let me shit. I'm over here. I got my people's business all up in there. God damn. I got my people business all up in there. Fuck it. We good. Ain't nothing to hide.
This on the show last night, I was complaining. I was screwing up talking about degrees and percentages last night, so I kind of screwed that up with but I was referencing all the. I don't see it playing, Vlad.
You don't see it playing? Hold on. Let me hold on. Let me get this here.
I can just flip my phone and camera again if we can just do it here.
Hold on, let me see. Let me try this. This thing is a pain in my behind, man. You try that. Y'all can't see it?
Yeah,
you can't see that?
It's not playing for some reason. I don't know.
It's not. Yeah, see if you could do it on your end, bro.
Yeah, no sweat. So I'm gonna face my camera back to the screen again. But
right.
Yeah, I just wanted to point this out because when I stumbled on this in the numbers, and it's just, to me, it's just pretty fascinating. But I don't know if you can see that. The spreadsheet.
Okay, we can see it. Right, I can see the spreadsheet.
Okay, just to recap what I did, just to make this clear, I punched it all into this spreadsheet, so there's no confusion on kind of how I worked all of this stuff. But if you go through the numbers, you'll learn the tribes of all of the tribes of Israel, right? From the lion, the man, you're told about the Levites, and you're not given the number, and you're given the tribe of the ox and the eagle, right? All these tribes. And then you're told that they march out in a specific order. So what I did was I put them around the sort of the outside of the circle. So I kept the tabernacle in the center, and I kind of made them a perimeter, right? A single rank of a perimeter on the outside of the circle. But it's funny that in that show, we talked about, we were talking about the sundial and how you were thinking of soap, which I thought was pretty funny. because the Dove soap and palm olive, like reaching out the olive branch and all this sort of like cleansing the soul. It's kind
Right,
of funny.
right.
Yeah, how all that's kind of tied in. But we talked about this gnomon on the sundial, and I didn't even think about this being relative like to man, right? Gnomon on the sundial being that 90-degree piece that's on the face of your sundial,
Right.
right?
The
But yeah,
the gnomon.
yeah, the gnomon, yeah. But I had adjusted to this because when you first work the numbers, right, and you take all of these tribes and you figure out what percentage of the circle they are, your first number for the tribe of man was this 90 and a third degrees. So what I did, like I said, I adjusted this like the gnomon and
Right.
made it 90 degrees, and then I multiplied their number out to this 605 800, right?
What did you multiply it by?
I multiplied it by 4 to get 300 degrees or 360 degrees of the circle, right?
Oh, okay.
So I'm making their number, this number that they're giving you, because you've got this extra 50 on there, right? So to me, it was like they're not rounding these other ones off. All the other ones are rounded off to 100. This one's got this extra 50. So I'm like, maybe they're telling me to pay special attention to this, and
Hmm.
and it's so close to 90 degrees already, right? When I did that, I'm like, maybe it's trying to tell me to make this 90 degrees. Okay. So
Hmm.
what I did was I made it 90 degrees. I multiplied it out by 4 to get the 360-degree circle. And you get this adjusted number. So
Hmm.
the number they give you without the Levites is 603,550. The adjusted number that I came up with 605,800. The
Okay.
difference, and then the difference is going to would be these Levites, right? Because they got to be part of the circle, I figure, right?
Right. Oh, okay. All right, Zach. Before you continue, all right. Before you continue, what do these numbers represent? Family, do you guys? I'm asking that question just to bring everybody up to speed. Like, what are these numbers that we're looking at representing? Because I'm sitting here, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm just a little bit confused. So we have names, we have Levites, we have these different tribes. What do these numbers represent?
These are the population.
Explain it as if you're explaining it like I'm stupid. It's okay.
Yeah, I got you. Well, okay, so the book starts and they're just talking about you have the Exodus, right? And then this, the tribe they end up in the Moab, or the area they're in, and they're talking about how they have to set up the tabernacle, right?
Okay.
They set up the tabernacle at the center of this camp, and then they put the Levites in charge to guard the camp. And then
Right.
they have the 12 tribes, right, which are
Okay.
represented by these names, right? And each grouping of 3 is going to be this different ensign, right? So they give you
Okay.
the populations, and the populations are telling you are all the males of that tribe over the age of 20. Okay.
Okay.
And like I said, they're just giving you the names. They're not, they tell you the order of march. Okay. So they're going to tell you it starts with the tribe of Judah marching out to
Right.
defend the tabernacle, but they don't tell you, you don't get details of how you do it. So some people take them, right, and they'll make them in ranks, like all the groups in ranks off of
Oh,
the different directions, right,
okay.
from the tabernacle. But what I did was I made them a perimeter, right? So
Mm-hmm.
instead of just making this sort of shape of all of the tribes from the center, I took them out because it says in there that they have to be away from the tabernacle,
Right.
right? And then they march out. They march out. Judah, the lion tribe. They start out going towards the sunrise to the east, and then they work their way around, right? So it's the east, and then they do the south is the men, and then they say that these Levites march out, but they don't
Okay.
give you the number, right? And then the next one is going to be the west with the ox, and then finally you get the north with the eagle, right?
The eagle. Okay.
So
So the opposition is the eagle and the man, and then you have the Levites and the ox, correct? Oh, no. The lion and the ox are in opposition.
Right.
Correct?
Lion and ox one way, right? Man and the eagle are the other way, right?
Mhm.
So man opposing the eagle, lion opposing the ox, right? And then these names all have meaning too, right? So you got to look at the names of all of these, the people in the tribes, because they all mean something, right? But
Okay.
they're kind of, it's, you're seeing that there's a code, like they're trying to show you something, because it's all about how the story plays out in mankind. But there's a
Okay.
message, there's a hidden message in it, right? Sort of just like you would see with gematria, right? Or all these other things like the Hebrews understand that there's inherent meaning to things. Things have deeper meaning, right? So this is like
Right.
the Hebrew law, and then you have the soul of the law, which is like the what is it, the Manisha or whatever, and then you have the soul of the law, which is a Kabbalah, right? So there's
Right.
these multiple depths of meaning. So, but
Now Dr. Bose is saying the Levites are not allowed to be counted. That's what he said.
that, well, it says that it just said it doesn't give you the number. Okay.
Okay.
So it specifically says that they're not going to give you this number, right?
Okay.
But this is just what I did. Okay. And this is, you can take it for what you want, but I adjusted this to 90 degrees instead of 90 and a third. You come up with this total number, 605,000. You subtract this, and I calculated the Levite population to be 2250. Okay. So now
Okay.
I come over here and I'm going to figure out what all of these of this new number for the total, right? I'm going to figure out what all these numbers are for the percentage of the circle. Okay. So
Okay.
we know that Reuben the man is going to be 90% of the circle. Judah the lion is going to be 110. You get this number for his degrees of the circle, right?
Right.
Opposing him on the other side is the ox, which is the tribe of Ephraim, which is this number here, 64.23, right? And then
Okay.
opposing the man is the eagle with this number here, 93.65. Now this is where it gets really cool, right? Because if you take the opposing from the lion to the ox.
It's funny. It's funny because I'm sorry to cut you off, because the man who's supposed to be north, who's going north? What's going north?
Let me see here. East, north would be the man.
Who's going south? The
Hold
eagle?
on, let me look at my notes. The man is south. The eagle is north.
Okay.
The ox is west. The lion is east. And I think what they're doing is they're just making sure that you understand the how they're going to be opposed, right? Just to give
Yes.
you the base. But they do start
Yeah.
with Judah towards the sunrise.
Okay.
And we associate the lion with the sun anyway, right? We
Right.
associate
Right.
you know, people associate this tribe with Christ and everything else, right? Which
Right.
is
Right.
interesting once you get later on. But like you said, you're
Funny, the
gonna,
Lion of Judah.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
And it's funny that Africa has the Lion of Judah on its flag, and Africa, Ethiopia does, and Ethiopia is all the way east, the eastern part of Africa. Anyway, but okay,
yeah,
continue.
yeah. So this is cool because, like you said, you're not going to get the discovery of the ecliptic plane until 190 to 120 BC, right?
Hmm.
And you're not going to have the sundial that's going to give you any kind of sort of like any of this with the lunar, like none of this stuff's going to be figured out till way later. But
Right.
if you take these numbers like this, if you subtract the ox from the lion, you get right here 46.53021 degrees. This is the ecliptic plane. Okay,
Okay.
this is the tropics. This is the wobble of the sun, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
Right now, if you subtract the eagle from the man, right, you're going to get this
You
number
mean the
here.
eagle's number? The eagle's number from the man, the eagle, which is
If you subtract the man from the eagle, right here, the eagle is
okay.
93.65467,
Now,
right?
why would you subtract that one from that and not the other way around? Is
Because
it because of the
they're opposing. They're on either sides, right? So this one's
okay?
close to balance, right? And this one's off
Okay.
balance. So Judah to the ox, they have this, they're off balance.
Okay.
And then from the man to the eagle, like these are opposing directions, right?
Right.
So like the way I was seeing it was like you got equilibrium on one side, right? Sort of like the equinoxes, and then you have the solstices kind of the other way. So this, you see what I mean?
Yes. Okay. It's starting to make sense now. Now I'm getting it. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So like I said, you subtract that number, you're getting the degrees for the ecliptic plane. It's going to give you the seasons, right? That's the wobble of the sun, so to speak.
Okay.
And then, right, if you take this number of the Levites, and if you once you subtract this eagle from the man, you're going to see this number, which you're going to see. This is the sidereal of the sun, or our year, right? Our sidereal year is this number, but it's 2 degrees, right? It's 2 decimal places off. Okay.
Okay. So real quick before you continue, now when you say the wobble of the sun, are you talking about how they say that the earth is wobbling like 23.5 degrees, 23.4 degrees, that thing?
No, I'm just talking about it in a way that people might be able to understand. I'm just talking about the variance, right?
Right.
The
variance by how many degrees though?
Well, this is 3.654672 degrees. Yes. But this number, you got to think, if you move this decimal place over 2 spots, this is the sidereal, right? This
365.
Yeah, but you got to remember in the beginning they said all the suns over 20 years, right? So they're trying to tell you, I think they're pointing to this, but all right. So this, if you move this decimal place over 2 spots, that's the sidereal year, right?
Right.
Our sidereal year, that's the sun's relationship to the background stars.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you divide this number by the Levites number, you're getting this right here.
What's that there? It's a little fuzzy.
So that's 2.7333, right? Repeating. Okay. This is the sidereal of the moon. So if this is 1 decimal place off of the sidereal of the moon, okay, this is this is 2 decimals off for the sidereal of the sun, right?
Wait a minute. So wait, that 27.3, that's a month, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the lunar sidereal month. That's the
27.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So for the moon in relationship to the background stars, for it to be in the same spot in the background stars,
right?
And in its cycle, it takes 27.33 days. Okay. Right. Same thing with the sun, right? Its relationship to the background stars, it's going to take 365 this number, right? Days, right, for it to get to the same spot. And then if you add the Levites to this number, you're getting 4.991746.
ABC saying they can't see anything. Guys, real quick. So Disclord, what's happening, man? While you in here saying, my bad, I didn't say what's up. Disclord, what's good?
Yeah. So anyway, I've highlighted the numbers here. So just so you'll know, you can go and work all of this yourself, right? You can take all these numbers and figure it up. But like you said, adjusting the man to the gnomon in 90 degrees, this is what it's working out to. You're seeing the ecliptic plane. You're seeing the moon's variance from the ecliptic plane in this number. You're seeing the sidereal year of the sun relationship to us, right? 2 decimal places off, and the sidereal of the moon with this number 1 decimal place off, right?
My thing, I still don't know how you got that number. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I don't know how you got those numbers. Like, I don't know.
How I got the numbers.
See. Yeah, I don't know how you got like the 2.7.
This is the division. If I divide this number right here, this 3.65,
3.65, right,
right, which is the difference of the man and the eagle. If I divide it by the Levites, the number of the Levites, when I divide this number, that's what you get.
2.73. Yes, got you. So what made you divide that number because I see the opposition of the man and the eagle, right? So let's start with the man and the eagle, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
what number are we given? What are the given numbers?
This is the opposition from the man to the eagle is going to be that's your sidereal year of the sun, is the opposition of the man and the eagle. The opposition of the lion and the ox is this one right here, right? That's
Which
going to
one? I
be
can't. We can't see.
okay.
I
That's
can't.
that's
I can't
your
see.
that's your ecliptic plane, right? So that's the
Which one?
tropics. The 46.5 is
I
the
can't see
difference.
it.
Shit, I don't know.
Yeah, you zooming in hard, but you zooming in on some empty ass cells, my brother.
Okay, I can't see what you're seeing.
Yeah, you probably got the front camera on, huh?
I can't I it won't let me spin it. Is that can
No,
you see it now?
no, we got the edge of it. No, Sean Alki, I didn't forget the eagle. This dude over there laughing at me. Sean Alki, I didn't forget the eagle.
How is it this fucking thing? Can you see it there? Is
All
that
right,
better?
I see all the cells, but I don't know which one you're trying to focus in on. Why don't you highlight which one you're focusing in on? Because you can move the cursor to you can move the cursor and you can highlight
Oh
it
yeah,
with
yeah.
the cursor.
Can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just do that. Okay,
Right there.
now we
Okay, so
can
you can
see
see that. Okay, I got you.
46.5 and right next to it is 64.23.
Yeah, just well, I was looking at the differences between some of these other ones, right?
Shanaki over there talking shit. Look at this motherfucker. Man, go ahead, man.
Well, like you said, these are the ones that pop out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so when you take the difference between the lion and the ox, you're getting this number right here. That's the 46.53 degrees. That's the ecliptic plane.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the difference between the man and the eagle, that's 3.654672. That's your sidereal year, right? Two decimal
Mm-hmm.
places off for your sidereal year. So you're getting the
Okay.
year and the seasons right here, is what it's
Okay.
telling you with these numbers.
Okay. Real quick, before you continue, and I'm sorry to be interrupting you. Sorry to be interrupting you. So you're subtracting the oppositions, correct?
Yeah, this degree difference is the difference between the lion, the
The
degree of the
lion
lion,
and the degree of the
and
man.
the degree of the ox. These are the opposing, right?
Why? Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. The lion and the ox, the eagle and the man. Yes. So you're subtracting east from west and
right?
then north from south, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And then with those results of each one, you're doing what with those numbers?
Well, like I said, I went to look how this year played, right? This number between the difference between the man and the eagle. What I did was I just divided this by the Levites. When you
Okay.
divide this by the Levites, okay,
And the
you're going to
Levites
get
are
this number right here. That's that number we found.
3.3.
They're this
Oh, it's
1.337075 degrees.
1.33.
Yeah. So this is the
Okay.
number that we found when we adjusted and found this number, this 2250 for the Levites. Okay. So now we're going to add this back into our number for the sidereal year, and we're going to get the 4.9917. That's going to be the degree of variance of the moon off of
For
the
the moon.
ecliptic. Yes, off the
Yeah.
ecliptic plane. So this one has to do with the moon ecliptic plane. This one has to do with the sun ecliptic plane. This one has to do with the sidereal year for the sun, two
Right.
decimal places off. This is the sidereal month for the moon, one decimal place off.
Okay. So, okay. My question then is I understand, I see based off of the math, right? And the subtraction and stuff, that's easy. Why is it that the decimals are placed where they are?
I think what this is, it's trying to show you that the correlation of the numbers, right? Because this you're going to see the pattern in the numbers. So this is showing us like way before we have, the means to figure all of this stuff out. It's showing us that it's already showing us for us to pick it up and find later. See what I mean? But I'm just telling you. I mean, you can look at this for what you want, but I'm just telling you, just by adjusting this to 90 degrees, right? The tribe of the man, and calling it 90 degrees,
Right.
and figuring out this number for the Levites, these numbers pop out, and it's not
a mistake.
It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's just not. So like
I'm not saying that you fucking around or nothing like that. I was just trying to see how you came up with the numbers, because I don't know if it was if I wasn't listening or what, but I was like, for whatever reason it's not clicking, I'm not getting or understanding it. So I just wanted to see it.
Yeah, I got you. And then, hey, here's another thing I was screwing around with, because you think when you start getting up to these big numbers like this, everything's in the 100,000 range. So
right.
I'm like, okay, well,
and which 100, I think 186,000, that right there is like the speed of light.
I think you're right. You mentioned that on the show the other night, and then I went back and looked at it. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's in miles per hour. Right.
I think you're right. Miles per second, maybe, or something. Yeah, something like that. Miles per minute. Yeah, there is some rate that looks close to that. That's kind of similar. But I took this number for the Levites, and I divided that into the 144,000. You see that number?
Right? 144,000.
Yeah, that's that number, because they talk about these tribes being 12,000 from each tribe, right? And you're getting into Revelations and talking about opening the seals or whatever. So they start talking about all of these tribes with this number. $144,000, and then I divided that number by this Levites number with the 2250, and you come up with 64, right? 64 is, in like Hebrew, this is the number of man, and then 4 is sort of the balance with the sort of time and earth and everything. So it's interesting that number comes up when you divide 2250 into the 144,000. And then I thought, well, what other scriptures? So then people should go look at Psalms 64, right? And just go and look what that's telling you. But I think it all kind of plays into this. To me, it was just pretty fascinating. I thought it was
any particular verse.
Oh, for Psalm 60, that's the song. So you get into Psalms and you just, it's just Psalm 64. So, yeah, that one was pretty interesting. I gotta shut this off here.
You have to shut what off? What's going on?
I gotta take my jacket off, man. You got me. I'm all worked up,
man. My bad, dog.
No, but yeah. No, I thought it was pretty fascinating that those numbers popped out like that, though, and I think it's pretty important.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, and I don't know anybody else that's seen it either. So I've got an uncle that's a pastor, and I reached out to him and asked him if he knew anything about this. He didn't know. He'd never heard it before. You know what I mean? So I don't know, and I can't find any other reference to it out there. But we were talking about. Because how does this all fit? Because I don't know how many people know the story of like starting from Abraham, right? Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael, everybody knows that, right? Ishmael's the firstborn, and then Isaac's the second. And
this is before you continue, just so people could get a look-see of what Psalms 64 is, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to present this to everybody.
Yes.
Okay. Let me share that with y'all. Do y'all see it? Hold on. Let me go ahead and blow that up for everybody. There it is. Okay. And then it says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily, and they say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities, and they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But God shall shoot at them. With an arrow suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. All men shall fear and shall declare the work of God, and they shall wisely consider of his doing. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. Okay, amen. All
Nicely
right.
done.
So that's Psalm 64.
Yeah,
Let
Psalm
me go back.
64. And I thought that was kind of, I thought it kind of speaks into this a little bit because, like, I think people have this idea of what, like, Israel is, like all of
Right.
this. And they were talking about, like, graven images the other time, when I was on, like, last week or the week before, you talk about graven images.
Right.
And, yeah, so I think that's kind of, another misconception of, like, what that means, right? So if you're going to talk to somebody that's going to look at Israel as like being that's like the Jews have laid claim to the Jewish people have laid claim to Israel, right? But I
Right.
think I think that's a misconception because if you look at like Israel, we understand it was Jacob, right? And then you have this lineage from well, starting from Abraham. So Nimrod blesses Abraham, right, and gives him
Right.
this land, and then his firstborn is Ishmael, right? But
Right.
he gives the blessing to his secondborn, which is Isaac, of
Isaac.
course. And these are with different women, and of course, this is how you have the division of the Muslim from the
And from the Jews, I guess.
Judeo-Christian.
Right.
So yeah, and then of course from Isaac, then you get down into Jacob and Esau is kind of the same thing, right? So Esau is the firstborn; he should get the birthright. Jacob kind of tricks him out of it, you're told, and he's the secondborn, right? So
Hmm.
you have the Edomites kind of breaking off with Esau, but yeah, then you get to Jacob, and then he has all these kids. He has 12 kids, and his 11th son is Joseph, and he's kind of flipped it as far as who's going to get the birthright. So he gives Joseph the birthright, and it pisses off all the other brothers, right? So what do? They sell them into, right? They sell them off to the traders
They
that are
thought
going.
they thought he was going to die too, or some stuff like that, right?
Well, I think they were just envious of him because he
Hmm.
got the blessing and he's the youngest, right? So they sell him off into into Egypt, right? He ends up in Egypt as a prisoner, and he's the one that ends up interpreting the dreams for the Pharaoh, right?
Hmm. The
Because
fat. That's the fat cow and the skinny cow. That one.
yes, absolutely, right. And
Right.
anybody that hasn't looked at Trey Smith's work on this, I would go and get his interpretation. But you're told that he interprets the dreams for the Pharaoh. He basically tells them, hey, we can dam up this, we can move the water in this aqueduct over here, right, and prepare for these hard times that are coming, and we can build a grain storage facility, right, and so that we're operating from a position of strength. And then, of
Right.
course, the Egyptians rise to power from this, right, because everybody else that's hurting
He's
can
starving.
come,
It sounds like.
right, they can come to Egypt because they've prepared for it, right? So
Right.
their empire grows, and then you're told that they unify, right? So Joseph ascends to the second, to the Pharaoh, and then he's Imhotep, right? So you have this branching. It's sort of like reaching across the aisle, right? So if you think of like it's sort of like Israel and Egypt kind of working together and kind of being able to. We talked about stereoscopic vision, or where you got to be able to pull depth, right? Of
Hmm.
seeing things of like from other people. So you got this union of like what you would call the tribe of Jacob and Egypt. right? And they call Joseph Imhotep, which is like speaks for the God I am. There's no I am in the Egyptian record and all this other stuff, right? But then also now you're going to have, because he reunites with Jacob and all the other all of his brothers and sisters, right? And then of course he becomes Israel, right? Jacob, who wrestles with God, wrestles with the Lord, which we talked about that last week with like the cross, right? The Y and the X axis, right? Those two things, right?
Right.
Being like the Lord of the world that sets all the rules for everything here. But I just think that's interesting that you have this amalgamation with Israel, with Egypt, and like they'll try to say that they're not related or something, but I think most certainly they are. But yeah, so now you're getting to this, because if you go and look at Numbers, just go look through that book of Numbers, because it's going to tell you like who the true children of Israel are, right? And that's going to be everybody that's basically under this moving tent, right? This moving canopy of this tabernacle of the sun and the moon. So, I mean, that's everybody. You see what I mean?
Now, Sean Alke's saying maybe putting too much stock in a fake history. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is where you're going to have to come into faith.
Right.
Like we talk about this with all the days of creation, and we're gonna sit here and go in circles and circles over and over until you start to apply it to, like I said, the faith. And like I said, my train of thought is we see the Creator and everything, right? We see it in all of this that we talked about: day one, pattern, light, sound, radiation, night and day, right? And the order of that. And then day two, the order of all matter and how everything's broken up and everything can be what it can be, right? With matter and the construct of everything. And then in day three, like plant life, you're not going to be able to figure out the origin of plant life with biology. People are going to point to DNA or something, but that's just again the pattern inherent to it, right? That's not going to explain life. You can wait for that DNA to curl up and take it out of the cell, and it's going to continue to try to grow, right? So there's already this life force touching it, right? And this is all designed. You got to think the Creator. And then obviously is the day four is the luminaries. Day five, you've got animal life. Day six is the mind again. Started with the mind, and that's the mind unioned with animal life. And then now you have rest, which is that's all of the balance points, right? All of the balance points. That's setting the rules, right? This is going to be the rules and limitations of everything, so to speak, on day seven. But if you look at the arc of the 7 days of creation, right, you're going to see how day one and day seven are related. Day two and day six, day three and day five, and then day four is the apex. That's the highest point, the crossing, I guess you could say, is sort of the pattern between day one and day seven is how I look at it. But no, I just think it's all pretty fascinating. But like I said, you're going to sit here and run in circles and bicker and debate over, like, all of these things, right? All these things that are touched by the Creator. So if we're gonna accept, and we're gonna come to this point that's like, okay, we're accepting the Creator, and we've been created. Would we be here without some reference, right? Would we be here without some way to tie back to that first, right? That first.
He sets the standard. It is the standard, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, are we going to be able to? This is why I think the chosen people. There's this. They're there to carry the message through. That's their purpose. But I mean, you got to remember they should be looking at like Proverbs 16:18. Just because we carried the language through, it doesn't make us any better, or whatever their thinking is, right? But that's the way I see it, which I'm sure is gonna piss a shit ton of people off. But you know what I mean? But like I said, it's all about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, people get pissed, man. That happens. But at the end of the day, is whether Sean Alki, I hear what you're saying. You don't have to trap yourself in a belief system. But here's the thing: we are coming into learning new things. Like it is what it is. Like we've just gotten out the funny farm of the globe, and now we're set free, and we're trying to figure shit out, right? So wherever that brings us, we have to examine it against everything. So to say that, all right, yeah, I'm not going to go with this because it's stupid, I don't think would be genuine. I don't think that would be fair, and I don't think that would be right, because we're coming into a world that we don't know, right? We don't know this world. This world is new. Even though we think we're familiar with it, we're not. So we have to approach everything that we're looking at in this world with baby eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because we're babies again. We're old babies, but we're babies again. So we have to approach these things carefully.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think so. And I think you have to relook at what's been taught before, because
Yeah.
the story had played out before, and then like you said before, like we're not at that point of maturity as humanity to understand and see what the hell was actually being talked about before, right? Because if it's projecting, like, hey, this is going to be important to you, like later on, and you'll understand, once you get to that point. And like you start looking at, I mentioned with like Moses with the throwing the
The
staff
staff.
down. Yeah,
Right.
and it,
That shit threw me off, man. I don't know. I don't know what you meant by that. That fucked me with me. Go ahead.
well, I mean, but that's the story, right? If you go watch the Ten Commandments, right, the movie or
Yeah.
whatever, and that's what Charlton Heston does, right? Because I mean, that's the interpretation. So that's the profane way that you're going to kind of look at it, because you're only going to look at it the only way that you can see it. Like if you don't have electricity, or understand countermotive electric force, and kind of understand like Tesla, right? That's like the alternating current. It's like it's already there. You're just going to push and pull it. You're just going to manipulate it away, right?
Hmm.
For you to push and pull it back and forth. It's sort of like if you watch that video of the scientist. That's they've got the kid that comes up and cranks. He's cranking the thing to turn the light on, right? But if the switch is off, he can spin the rotor, or he can spin the stator in or the rotor in the stator and everything, and it's easy for him. But as soon as they flip the switch, it's
It's
hard to.
hard. Yep.
Yeah,
It's hard to generate that stuff. Yep.
yeah. So you got to think that motion, like once you close it, it's already there, right? Which is hard to kind of wrap your head around. And this is why, like I said, what Ken Wheeler's talking about with all of his stuff, it's like you're going to see what he's talking about through the magnet, right? Because there's increased dielectric. But you have to look at it as the pattern that you're going to see in the magnetic under a ferrule cell of a
Hmm.
magnet. That movement is going to be that's happening through all matter. You can't see it. So this is like what I was just looking at numbers again in this book. It was the first time looking at it, right? But it's talking about how it's Aaron, and it's talking about he's striking the rock. He's
Right.
striking the rock, and water is coming out of it. So what are
Hmm.
they talking about with water? You know what I mean? And
Oh, the top of the rock. Oh, so the water's sprouting like a fountain, like
yeah,
that.
but
Is that what
yeah,
you mean?
well, that's I guess that's the interpretation of it. But he's just saying you're striking the rock, and then water's coming out of the rock. And I'm hearing like interpretations of this from the pastors and priests and stuff, and they're looking at it all literally. But you got to
Hmm.
look at it as kind of like what he's talking about with magnetism and the magnetodielectric as present in all matter, that pattern of it. So you got to think of it like it's spilling out as it's like pulling itself down, that counter force and that magnetic, right? Or the dielectric pattern and the magnetic pattern, right? That's the pulling and the pushing, right? It's that
Hmm.
centrifugal and centripetal at the same time. But it's interesting because in there he's told what you're not supposed to strike the rock, right? He said, "I told you to speak to the
I
rock."
told you to talk to it, and then he
Yeah,
told that. Yeah, right. But
yeah.
wait, that was Moses where he told him to talk to the rock.
Okay, it was Moses. Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah,
remember. I couldn't remember if it
and
was
that's
Aaron.
basically what kept them from going to the promised land. God was like, "Yeah, man, you ain't going, dog. All these other cats are going." Because remember that time I told you to talk to that rock? Type he
Yeah,
was
that's
on.
right.
He
Yeah,
was on that time.
Yeah, but I think you got to start looking at these with different eyes. Like I said, I'm not.
Yes.
This isn't my thing. You know, I'm not like a preacher or pastor or something. I just started picking this up and started looking through it after I kind of picked up some of these other pieces, right? Because I'm understanding like what Ken Wheeler's talking about with
Hmm.
understanding sort of that pattern of movement in magnetism is like the ethereal. It's like how it's moving the ethereal waters is how you would kind of think of it, right? It's sort of like
Right.
this thing that's already moved. That's why he talks about light. Like if you're lighting a match, or you're lighting a candle, or if you're talking sunlight, or it's the light out of your flashlight or something.
Flashlight. Right. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's already moving. Like it's all moving at the same speed somehow, right? And what he's going to try and get you to think is like it's not it's not you can't think of it as being something that's being emitted or pushed. It's just the disturbance that's going to be carried by the field, or what you would
Hmm.
call the field, or the space that's already moving, right? It's
Hmm.
sort of the waters that are already there. So you gotta start thinking. You gotta start thinking about this a little bit differently. But that's why I would point everybody to Ken Wheeler's work, because I think it's pivotal. I think it's pivotal to start to try and understand, like, rebuilding how you're thinking about this stuff.
Yeah. Totally. And it's new, it's different, but it adds a different layer and dimension to what it is we already know. And it helps us to better understand what it is we thought we did, what it is we thought we knew. Because we can't take what we think we know for granted. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like I'm listening to you. At first I really didn't understand it. Now I don't understand it less, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I still understand it, or I still don't understand it, but it's starting to gel a little bit, and it's making a little bit more sense because now I'm starting to see where these numbers are coming from, why they're coming from these places, and why those results are what they are and what they yield eventually. You know
I'm
what
a
I'm saying?
I'm a failure, Vlad. I'm a failure.
No, 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 no,
I'm
no,
an
no.
epic I'm an epic failure, man.
No, you're not a failure, bro. You're
Yeah,
not a
no, I
failure.
know. No.
You know, and really what it is hold on, let me just copy this link. Really what it is this is why it's important. I feel it's very important to give everything a chance to look to understand as much as you can in the things that you read, and read the stuff that you don't feel comfortable in reading, or look at the stuff. You don't necessarily have to fully read it, but take a look, take a peek, because in all these books there's so much information that can help bridge the gap and make things make sense at to a point to where there was a time things might not have made sense, but we have so much free floating information in our minds that it's like having, you ever been given a jigsaw puzzle? Of course, the answer is yes, right? We've all done
Yeah.
jigsaw puzzles. And then we put everything together, we put a lot together, but then you have this one piece that you're like, I'm putting this off to the side because I know it goes somewhere that I'll need it. It's just that one piece, right? But
Yeah.
then you have this other piece that goes somewhere, it makes sense, and then you're like, oh, finally, I have a place to put this one piece. As soon as you put that one piece there, the other pieces just flow like water. Everything just seems to happen, and it happens correctly, and the puzzle just starts to build itself. This is why a lot of these books, they're getting burnt. You know what I'm saying? I feel a lot of this information in so many of these books. I'm not saying all the books are related, right? Like you might not get anything out of Danielle Steele book, or you might not get anything out of a Lemony Snicket book, right? Series of unfortunate events. It might not have anything to do with flat Earth. I'm not talking about that, but mostly the old stuff. In the old stuff, there may be clues as to what it is we live on, because the books live on, right? The people don't. We don't have too many recordings of a lot of these people talking. And then the people, their minds start to slip. But in these books, you have infinity for the most part. You have everlasting life in these books, so that you can refer to them. And really, what it boils down to is hopefully you have somebody that can help you decipher what it is it's trying to say. If we're not too far removed from it. Case in point, I spoke about it before. The Voynich manuscripts. Before they were like, oh, it's written in some special alien language. Now that we know, you see, this is what I'm talking about. Now that we know that this place is not at all what they said that it was, and we're not at all where we thought we were, the Voynich manuscripts make absolute sense. It comes from a civilization that no longer exists because for whatever reason they no longer exist. They no longer speak that language. That was a world, whatever happened to this world, to where that whatever they're talking about in the Voynich manuscripts no longer exists. It doesn't exist for whatever reason. So now we're left with a book from a time that we don't understand because there's nobody there to help us understand it. They're all gone. They're all gone.
Yeah.
So it's you know, and so now we're looking at it with different eyes. You understand? We're not looking at it as an ancient aliens must have come down and made a book and just left it there for us to be like, oh, this is in some funky language we don't get. Well, yeah. Well, now we're starting to learn that there were cataclysms that happened, potentially cataclysms for whatever reason, different regions of the world, different types of people that lived here and that lived there. Right. And so Sean Alke says most of the books were forged in the 1800s and predated, in your opinion. Right. So there's a good chance that stuff that may have occurred in the Bible or during those times may have happened a lot more closer to these times than we think. You know what I'm saying? This world may be a lot younger than we're being told.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's
Instead
other
of
sciences with some of that too. Yeah. Like with
right.
if you're going to marry up history and you're going to look at, if you really look at what like some of these archaeologists do as far as like tracing back some of the stuff, I think that you can find some solace in at least there being some baseline there that you're not going to be completely lost. You know, I don't think you're going to be completely lost in history.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but to be lost to history is horrific, man. It's horrible because now you have this thing like the Voynich manuscript, and I could guarantee you there are many other Voynich manuscripts out there. We just haven't found them yet. Many of them might be in the Vatican, and I'm just using the Vatican as an example because this is just one that we know of. But I'm sure there are many other places like the Vatican. So many other places, probably right under our feet that we don't even know about, right? And so when we're starting to come into, and I always refer to coming into what we're in now because that's what it is. We're just trying to figure these things out. And so any kind of
yeah.
information that may give us some kind of clue, like we need to listen to it, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
we're stuck in yes, it's a flat world, it's a flat world, it's a flat world. Yes, we know it's a flat world, but we need to move the ball forward, right? Now that we're at the 50-yard line, you don't stay at the 50-yard line, you move the ball forward and see if something sticks. And if this doesn't stick, that's okay. But this is just another piece to the puzzle that we're given. And so we move on to the next thing and see if that clicks and if that works. You know what I'm saying? What we
Yeah.
do know is that we can't trust them motherfuckers that gave us the previous information because that's totally opposite of what is true, apparently.
Well, no, I wouldn't look at it like that. I would look at it as you've got this baseline, but it's not gonna contain everything. You're not gonna get the whole picture, right? So if you really look at how what they're talking about with the tribes and how you're broken up through the table of nations, and you're split off, right, through Abraham down to Jacob, and now you got the tribes of Israel are all broken up to 12 different ways, and it seems like everybody's scattered. So what you have to do is you got to have that olive branch, right? You got to be able to reach across, just like you see with this interaction between the Egyptians and Jacob's family, right? Which are the Hebrews, right? So you see that they're bridging the gap. They're working together, but like I said, the histories, right? You're going to pick something up from one of the histories, like you're going to pick up from Egypt, right, about this Israel, the name of the meaning of the name, right? And it's going to show you, because now that we're looking at this tabernacle and we're seeing that we're talking about the relationship of the sun and the moon to us. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like you're not going to see that if you're just looking from the one perspective. And just
Yes.
because they have the baseline, there's this one baseline that's tethered back, right, is going to be your dominant eye view. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to see it from all other things. You're going to go look at Eastern religion, right, and you're going to learn about chakras and all of this, and about the balance, the rest points, and all this stuff, and then that's going to show you a bunch of stuff too, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
not like, oh, how do you put it? But that, if you look at that story of what they're talking about all these different, the differences of all the people, everybody under the sun, coming back and able to put the whole picture together. It's all about people working together, and that's the whole point of it. When you go all the way back to Adam and Eve, it's all about people being able to figure out how to work together, right, to accomplish this one thing for us to get to understanding. Because you got to remember, we're coming in from ground zero, right? They wiped the, like what we talked about, right? They wiped the hard drive when you come in, right?
Yeah.
But we've got to collectively work together, right, to try and make this place the place that we really want it to be. And you look at the Abzu, right? We talked about the Abzu. That's
underwater.
That's the thing that's got that kind of that weight, that's holding the weight in the one hand, and it's reaching up with the cone, right? It's reaching up with the what would you call that? The pituitary gland, they call it, right?
Oh, you're talking about the middle of the brain thing. That thing. That cone,
Yeah.
that cone. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It'll come to me.
Pituitary,
The pineal gland.
Pineal gland?
Oh, yeah, there you go. The pineal. That's right.
Yeah.
Pineal
That's
gland.
right. Thank you,
But yeah, if you look at that thing, it's holding that weight, right? If you look at that image from, it's like Mesopotamia, and you see it in the Mayans, Incans, or whatever, whoever had it over there, they had the same picture. But you look at it, it's holding that weight in the one hand, and it's reaching up with the other one, right? So this is, you got to remember that everything's divine, right? Even the matter, right? You're coming up through the mother, right? And we're all built up out of matter, and we all got that same mitochondrial DNA, right?
Mhm.
That's inherent to everything as it's growing. And then we got the pattern from the father, right? But you got to look at, it's sort of like, you got to look at soul and spirit. So you can't look at matter as just being dumb things, right? Because there is what do you call it? There's intelligent design just in the dust that we're brought up out of, right? And
Right.
Yeah, and then you have so we've got this touch. We've already got this touch of life, so to speak, or this touch of the divine in matter alone, and then it's unionized sort of with the spirit, the thing that is us. And that's what that thing is trying to say, in my opinion, is because it's showing you that, hey, I'm trying to come up out of this weight of this matter, and I'm trying to elevate my thought, my mind, and everything. And we everybody comes in, ground zero, right? Your slate's wiped clean, and you gotta raise it up.
So I'm thinking about what you wrote and what you drew and everything else like that, and the numbers. So here's what we know. You had the man, you had the woman, you had Adam, you had Eve, you had the sun, you had the moon. Adam, the sun, Eve, the moon. Then you had their progeny, right? The children, the grandkids, everything that follows after them. And then God tells Abraham, I'm going to make, I think he told Abraham, correct me if I'm mistaken, but he basically said, and I'm loosely speaking, y'all, I'm not speaking literally from the Bible, but he's like, yo, I'm going to make you're going to have as many kids as the damn stars in the sky. So then from him, you get his kids that make the 12 tribes of Israel. So I'm wondering if his kids could be equated to the stars in the sky, and those 12 tribes of Israel are like the principal zodiacs.
Yeah, there's relationship there for sure. Yeah, because you're going to see that broken up, like that whole thing. If you're looking at the balance of all this, because like we talked about Proverbs or the Psalm 6:4, right? When we divided the 144,000 by the 2250.
Right.
Yeah, that's that number. Go look at what that number means in like gematria 64. It's a special number because it's the union of talking about the mankind and sort of your relationship. But you look at 24, like in time, right? 24 hours, and you're talking 12s, and this is where you're going to start looking at your fingers with all the what do they call that? With the you've got the 4 sections on each finger of
Oh, you're
5.
talking about palm reading and shit? You
No,
talking about
no,
these segments?
no. It's what is it? 3 segments per finger. Well, it's is that right? It's
Yeah, it looks like you
counting.
got 3. Yeah, you got 3 per
Yeah.
finger.
I can't remember. There's so much stuff out there about different things or how you see these patterns and everything. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you just think about sort of this balance of everything. Like, you think of time in 4s, right? So 4 phases of the moon, right? 4
Right.
seasons of the sun, right?
4 quadrants in a chart.
Yeah, but then you think everything male and female too, right? You got X-ray light, which would be sort of like you're thinking moon that way, right? Y-ray light is gamma rays. That's you're thinking sun that way. So you got to
You've
think.
got you've got for electromagnetics to travel, you've got your H and you've got your E. You've got your magnetic field, you've got your electric field. Both of them running perpendicular to one another.
Yeah,
So that's
the magnetodielectric, and that's
yeah.
red shift, blue shift, right?
Yep.
And of course, the balance points are always that's your green. That's
Mhm.
the place of rest. But
It's the middle point, that's right. And it's funny because the color green could trigger seizures.
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the color green is known like if you're known to be an epileptic or you have an epileptic in your family, you don't want them to be around stuff that would flash too much green. This is what the scientists say. These days, after seeing all that I'm seeing, I'm like, I don't even know. But this is what the claim is.
No,
That
I
too
mean, I
much
think
green can trigger some epileptic fit to some folks that are more prone to having seizures and stuff. Don't take my
yeah,
word for it. I ain't a doctor, but this is the claim.
no, yeah. Yeah, and look at art, right? You get into art and you're talking like color schemes, right? So if you're looking at like a computer screen or something, you're looking at
You're talking about like art, not Art Garfunkel or nothing, right?
yeah, art. Like you go take an art class.
Okay.
Yeah, color is going to be one of those base elements you're going to look at, right? And yeah, that red, blue, green, right? That combination of those 3 colors is what that's going to be how you're going to get all the colors of like your TV screen that you're probably looking at right now, right?
Right,
Or
right.
if you got an old cathode ray TV tube,
At
if
the
you look,
end, at the end of each movie or the end of your TV program, they have the basic colors. That's one. It's like it's got the dial tone and it's got the basic colors. But
yeah,
if you zoom in on your old CRT TV, you could see each dot. You can see them.
yeah. Oh, and if you look at how an old cathode ray TV tube works, and you look at the science behind that, of like the electron guns that are in there, the 3 different colored electron guns on a color TV, and like how it's building the picture, and you'll start to understand why you see that ripple that comes up the TV, right? If you try and like film something on an old TV like that, you'll see that ripple as it's coming up. And
Right. Oh yeah. So if you're running a video camera and that TV is on, while you're running the video camera and you're looking at the TV, you see those stripes.
yeah, the stripes
Yeah.
coming up.
So
That's because
that's a
it's
hertz rate.
yeah, it's building that picture. It's building it
Yeah.
pixel by pixel with that gun. And you're just like, how in the fuck how did
Yeah.
they know how to do this? Like,
Same thing. The same thing with the halogen light. It's a hertz. It moves off of a hertz rate. So the hertz rates aren't matching. And so you're basically seeing a on-off flicker effect. They call it like a stroboscopic effect. See, I remember something when I was an electrician. You know what
there
I'm
you go.
saying?
There you go.
So it's a
School me up.
stroboscopic effect, and it's basically like your eyes don't detect it because your eyes are matching these things to where everything looks consistent and constant, and it doesn't flicker back and forth. But as soon as you introduce a different viewing medium like a camera phone or a video camera, like one of them little 48 hours joints back in the day, right? Then you'll start to see that everything is offset. And that stroboscopic effect is because one frequency is different compared to the other frequency, or the other hertz rate. The hertz rate of the TV or the hertz rate of your computer is different than the hertz rate of your video camera or the hertz rate of your cell phone.
Oh, okay. I
Wild
guess it makes
shit.
sense. Yeah,
Or
but
your halogen light. Some wild shit.
RGB.
Huh?
RGB also makes me think of Aurora Borealis, the color spectrum of Aurora Borealis.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. And what's crazy is one of the more prominent colors in the Aurora Borealis and in the Aurora Australis, I looked that up as well, is green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Green is one of the stronger colors to appear in there.
oh yeah,
Yep.
Which I
Matrix
don't know
color.
why that is. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I took guesses. I'm thinking a blue firmament with a yellow golden sun. You get the green color. I could be wrong. That's me thinking that there may be a firmament up there. I don't know. Guesses. And me with
It-
my guesses and my opinion. But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of the that's one of the colors that appears the most, apparently.
It
green
is.
screen.
It is the balance
Green
point, though, right? That's going to be the central light you see in
Green
the,
screen. Good
the
point.
rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. How about you drop a needle on a record and you can get that depth of sound out of that, huh? How about that?
So yes, but T. Smith is saying super deep conversation, boys. Unfortunately, most likely going over most of our heads. I hope it's not.
Yeah,
you know, yeah. We'll tone it down a little bit. I apologize, y'all. I it happens sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We go off in the left field and then we act crazy. But we'll bring it back. But this is the thing. If it goes over your head, that's all right. That's okay. We'll bring it back. But just remember this. It's going to be going over many of our heads often and expected, because we're looking at this world different now. We have to expect different. You understand what I'm saying? It's not going to be business as usual. It can't be, because now the life that we're going to be living now is got to be different. The way we see things has got to be different. We can't expect the same results as we once did before, because things are different, because we're now seeing things different. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got to reach across the aisle. You know what I mean? If you're weak on mathematics or something, maybe go check that out, or maybe explore sound, explore light, and try to reconstruct how you think about those things. Yeah, I think like I said, it was pivotal for me. Was that Ken Wheeler's work? You know what I mean? And like I said, I got to watch it a few times over. You know, I got to spend some time on it to try and pick it up. But no, it's the more you can see, or the further you go, the more impressed I think you get with everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's difficult because we're limited in our thinking. We know what we know when we know it. As you learn new things and they start to stick, then that's a good thing, I guess. But don't think that learning just ends after the last book that you read, because it's an ongoing process. Some things you take on and they're good. Other things you take on, you think they're good until it's time to scrap it. Like everybody in this fucking chat tonight, we all had to scrap that one thing. We know what it is, right? But at least I could say this much, that we're comfortable. We're getting comfortable now with the unknown for the most part. And that's a good thing. And like I said, we can expect things to be different. We're comfortable with it now, because we're in this place that we're familiar with, but we're not familiar with, right? Like we've seen it, but now we have to see it different. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing to not know what to expect, but to approach it humbly and just be like, fuck it, give me what you got. And then we learn from it. It helps us better understand what the hell's underneath our feet. Which brings me to this point. Brings me to this point right here. I wanted to show you guys this because this really like resonated with me hard. And anybody here in here from New York, I know old dude is from New York in here. There are a couple of y'all in Shifty Shady Eyes, I think is from New York, right? Old dude is from New York. There are a couple of New Yorkers in here. I know what's his name's from New York. Lowry's from New York. I'm gonna show this to y'all from my lunch break, right? And this really like took me
Here we
for a
go.
loop.
We went all the way to New York City, got on a plane so that we could all investigate New York City. We are going to be looking into the St. Patrick's Cathedral, the Empire State Building, as well as a lot of other things, and attempting to expose the truth about all of these buildings, showing that they were most likely built by a much more advanced previous civilization that was here all over the world. We're also going to be looking into the New York Life Insurance Company building, which is located on 51 Madison Avenue, Manhattan, New York.
Man.
Built in the Gothic Revival style. A massive 615-foot tall tower that we are being told was constructed in a single year from 1927 to 1928. 1 year, and replaced the original Madison Square Garden. Where constructing massive towers in a single year is something that New York seems to get away with a lot. When they tell us they did the exact same thing over at the Empire State Building. And we went to the top of this thing, which was very cool to see the whole city. And also gives you a great understanding just how hard this would be to build, especially in the amount of time that they tell us, and especially in the years that they tell us. But before we go into that, and since we are here in New York, where we all know about the Statue of Liberty, and we know that it stands on top of, in my opinion, an old world star fort, where I think this is the perfect time to bring up something that I've seen in the comments section so many times, possibly more than anything else. And if you hear me blanking out certain words throughout this episode, I think at this point we can all understand why. Where we have Satan's little season. And we all know I am not somebody that brings religion into my research very often. And I'm not telling anybody what to think. I never will. I'm simply sharing my research and any information that I find valuable, exactly as I have since day one of this channel. But the fact that I'm bringing this up, this could be massive. So check this out. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, which we have seen before in episode 75, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. We have a painting of Lucifer in 1797. And then compared to the Statue of Liberty, where you can close your eyes and see that they look identical. And we just read that Satan was chained in a bottomless pit for 1,000 years. This is the story. Well, when you look at the Statue of Liberty, which was possibly created, and in my opinion, completed as a celebration of this little season's beginning, where it of course has that broken chain, where we're just getting started. All of this dedicated to 1776, the exact year that we are talking about here, where all of these inventions all started back up. Now, this statue was completed in 1886 with its cornerstone holding some logos on it that you can see right here, with two guys being the architects, where we have Frederick joining this group's lodge in 1875 and Richard H., the other architect. Same thing. Is this statue a celebration for Satan's return? A celebration for him fulfilling his 1,000 years, chained in the pit, finally getting out in 1776 and deceiving us ever since? Is this the reason that these palaces all over the world look so out of place? And now we get these horrible, basic, demoralizing boxes to look at. Now we can all ask questions, since we basically know that the mainstream history that we've all been told is filled with a ton of lies, where we get clues and destruction of our past right after this date. of 1776. We get all of the Great Fires, where the mainstream narrative gives us basically 0 lives taken, yet complete and total destruction of all of these cities. Is this not something that the one that just broke out of the pit would do? That he should deceive the nations no more until the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After he should be loosed a little season, catacombs, great fires, complete chaos, wars, total manipulation, worldwide confusion for decades, the food that we're fed, the water, inverting everything, calling it Lady Liberty when it's really a man, power, control, separating families, creating 2 asylums, an orphan asylum for the kids and an insane asylum for the adults, resetting everything, and then sending us back.
Here's one thing that I think is strange, right? Here's one thing I think is totally strange, y'all. Catacombs, right? We hear about them all the time. They talk about them every time. We just spoke about them last night. We spoke about them the night before on this show. Catacombs. You hear it? What are catacombs that you know of? What are catacombs? Anybody? I don't care. Talk.
I don't know. They're like tombs or something, aren't they?
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Go ahead.
That's my best guess. I've never been in any catacombs. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know.
So catacombs, I thought they were the same thing. Tombs, you have a bunch of bones lined up in a pit underneath a church, underneath the city that we're familiar with, right? Catacombs. A lot of times it could be underneath a church. What kind of church?
You trying to scare the shit out of everybody, Vass?
No.
What are you doing?
I'm asking. I don't want to give the answers and have them in your head so you agree with me. I just want you to speak freely. But I'm mentioning stuff. This is how my brain works, right? Like I'm hearing some stuff, and I'm sure this is how a lot of people's brain works, much the same way. Like I'm hearing the stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, how did I not see it? So catacombs underneath whatever, underneath the structure.
There's a video of catacombs in the private chat now.
But what's catacombs? Cathode, right? You
Catholic tombs.
Catholic tombs, Catholic church, cathode, cathedral, catacombs.
Yeah, cathode means negative too, right?
Negative, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's like a connection because we have these catacombs everywhere, right? They're everywhere, it seems like. Or some of you guys, especially that live in Europe, some of you guys that might live in Paris and stuff like that might come across the catacombs. You may have visited them from time to time, maybe went on a field trip to a few of them, right? And so these things are there. So these catacombs, I'm wondering if they have something to do with some sort of energy production. Just based off of the name. I could be wrong. I don't know. I've been wrong before. But just based off of the name, there must be something I'm wondering if there's something behind it.
Yeah, it could be. I think of this with like Twitter, right? Or what, X or whatever. So if this is the story of Lot also in the Sodom and Gomorrah, and I think the point of that is like not to focus so much on the destruction or like what everybody's doing wrong. To me it looks more as like the importance of the individual to do good, because it says if there's just one good, I won't destroy it, right? And then Lot, you're told, is not supposed to look back at the destruction because you'll get salty yourself and turn into a pillar of salt. And then Christ, this is like where if you're going to see evil, right, and cause you to do sin yourself, then you're better off not having sight at all. You're better off not plucking out your eyes and not having the ability of sight if you're going to see something that's going to cause you to do something else. But I think about this with Twitter a little bit or X, because if you're scrolling through your Twitter feed and you stop on something, right, and the algorithm picks that up. So you're basically casting a vote. So if you're going to sit there and look at something that is negative or whatever, it'll start feeding you more of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And yeah, so I think there's something to that for sure. Because yeah, you are kind of casting your vote. But yeah, I don't know. I look at Galatians over the Revelations, a little bit. It's I look at it as trying, like, if the individuals collectively will focus on, trying to be the best person that they can be, and not be so quick for vengeance, or what's the to be quick to forgive and forget over the eye for the eye type mentality, right? So I think that's the whole point of Christianity, the humility and that aspect of it. And I think that's kind of how you see you're going to be able to salvage everybody working together. But yeah, this kind of stuff is it's definitely, it can be interesting for sure. But
so this is what I find interesting. So you got Joyce B saying bones resonate sound. Human bone is one of the best conductors of sound. Dead bones, living bone. Now, I can attest to that to a degree. When I used to dive way back in the day, one of the ways that you could talk to people is with we had something called a bone phone, right? It was a communications device that we would slip behind our mask, and then it would touch anywhere on our skull, right? We had it sitting on our mastoid process, which is that bone right behind the ear, typically. And then we would dive, and then the ambient water would help it, like, help that vibration vibrate the rest of our skull. And then topside could talk to us. And then with the microphone inside of our mask, we can respond, we can talk, right? You could have a full-on conversation with topside. So this is how we communicated with the guys at the top electronically. Now, while you're underwater, you can also talk to people in a very crude and rudimentary way. If you're diving scuba, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but you've seen movies where guys are diving with a mouthpiece in their mouth, right? And that's your second stage regulator. And that regulator is sitting in your mouth. What you can do is you can take that regulator, and as you're biting down on it, you can grab somebody's head, because you can't talk underwater, right? You can't. You can put their skull on that regulator of yours, and you can talk into the regulator through your teeth, so it doesn't slip out of your mouth or nothing like that. You could be like, hey, motherfucker, we're surfacing right now. Let's go. And they can hear everything through the vibrations in their bone, from your regulator into their skull. So that's how they can hear you. It's one of the ways that they can hear you. It's crazy, isn't it? So I'm sitting there listening to what Joyce B is saying, and shout out Joyce B. Welcome, good to see you. Jono, it's also good to see you too, bruh. It's good to see you. And Flatsoid is in the house. It's good to see him too. Everybody that came in and I didn't greet you, hopefully I get to you here soon. But she says the bones resonate sound and everything else. But we have to think also about what the bones is made of, right? It's still the factory house, what we're taught, for blood. Blood's got all sorts of good stuff in it, like iron, right? And bones have some kind of phosphorus property to it as well, that we're told of. But I guess the blood might have something to do with it. And apparently
yeah,
bones, there's some crystal that grow off of human flesh or human bone,
hey,
some kind of crystal.
you can build a feral cell that instead of that feral fluid, you can use blood and build a feral cell and see the magnetic patterns and stuff in blood because of that iron and stuff too. So that's interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah, isn't that weird? And so all these things combined, and I'm sure these guys knew something about it, because they're making these catacombs, and they're kind of giving us clues with the name alone. With the name alone, there's some kind of clue behind it. Now, what it does, I don't know. This is why I'm talking about it, because it may spark somebody else's thoughts, and it'll put this is why talking about this stuff is so important. This is why discussing it and just letting it all out on the table. And sometimes we go into left field, but left field every once in a while is where you get some of the best gems, right? It helps spark somebody's mind enough to where it puts some pieces of the puzzle together that we can all use. Like I have no idea what the fuck these crystals do on these bones, right? After they appear after you die. I don't know why the blood does what you just mentioned, Zach. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why it does that. I don't. I don't know why there's so much iron in the blood to do what it does, and why blood is so powerful in so many different things for so many different reasons, and why blood smells like pennies. I have no idea why, but it's important, and they leave clues behind, and these are things that I think we need to discuss and we need to talk about. And I landed my plane right there. Y'all keep going.
Yeah, just scaring the shit out of everybody, Vlad. That's awesome.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. So Shifty Shady says, I was born and raised one of those weird Catholics. I don't trust any lizard man in a funny hat. However, Catholic churches are notorious for having bodies, body parts, skeletal remains. That's right. One of the things that Catholic churches are notorious for having, especially like in Europe, are those powerful, like they'll have a hand encased in like a little special case, and they'll be like, oh, this is the hand of Saint Simon or something. I'm just making a name up, right? And that would be like a relic. And so this is something that would draw power, apparently, to the region and to the church itself. So you have many Catholic churches, the old ones, throughout Europe. I'm sure you're familiar with it, even Disclord. Disclord?
Sorry, I was just looking at something on YouTube. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, so I was just talking about how Shifty Shady Eyes was talking about Catholic churches are notorious for having bodies, body parts, and skeletal remains
Oh yes.
in their church.
Oh yes.
So, and I was just saying that this is more prevalent in Europe, especially.
Even those old churches where they found where nuns lived, and they were raising children and having children there. Like,
Is that the one in Canada?
I don't remember. I saw it in a documentary once. One of them, where they found children's bones
Oh yeah, that's the one in
under the
Canada.
ground. Yeah, there was more examples of it around the world.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
And the nuns were the ones taking care of those children.
Yep. And then they killed them, and a lot of them turned out to be like indigenous children to that region.
Yep.
Yeah. So he said undecayed remains, and what they refer to with those undecayed remains, and what you're talking about, Shifty, is they call them the incorruptibles. I remember, like, I've seen documentaries and stuff like that on them. And so a lot of times, one of the ways in which they canonize saints, I'm sure you're familiar with it being a Catholic, is they'll check on the body from time to time. And if the body is still well preserved after a certain amount of time, they typically get canonized. Of course, there are other things that go into it, but that's like one of the 3 pointers that the dead body shoots in order to gain sainthood. You know what I'm saying? Or if he's a pope, if they perform certain miracles throughout their life, or things that were attributed to them performing miracles, and then they're also incorruptible at the same time. All right, so what that means by incorruptible is that the body doesn't decompose. That's what they mean by incorruptible. I'm sure there are certain embalming methods that they use to keep the body in a fresh state. But one of the more recent incorruptibles is this young Italian boy that died. I forgot his name, but you could look him up. He's a young Italian boy that died of like cancer or something like that. And he died young. He was like 16, 17 or something. And they buried him in the church, and he was a staunch Catholic. And they left his body in a glass coffin, and you could see him there, and he hasn't decomposed a bit. And they canonized him. I think, within the last 10 years or so. And this is like unheard. You don't hear of people, especially kids, often being canonized like today, these days. and he was like a young computer geek and everything else like that. He did some special stuff in the name of the Catholic Church. He died young, and then he was canonized. And his body is in pun intended, immaculate shape for the most part. It's in great shape. It's ridiculous. So anyway, saying all that to say that yes, Shifty Shady is right. Yeah, those things are common in the Catholic Church. Now,
That's pretty
yeah,
wild, man. Yeah,
it's really crazy.
What I was asked, what I was telling my sister that when I die, I told her that they should boil off everything from my bones and then string my bones together so they can pose me up in like the corner of the room or something, like my skeleton, because I thought that'd be hilarious. But yeah,
Hang you up for Halloween?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Wouldn't that be pretty cool? I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. just some comedy. Just some comedy, Vlad. I'm trying to throw some comedy into this, some levity into this.
I guess, yeah, man. I guess sometimes I go off the deep end, man. I get a little bit crazy with it. But yeah, the Catholic churches, even in the name, man, Catholic, you got cathode. Cathedral, you got cathode.
Yeah, and if you look at the word, man, it looks like people who's extremely into cats, catholics.
Catholics. Oh, wow, that's weird. Oh, I was like, yeah, so that's a really good point, Reggie. The piezoelectric effect. So this is applying pressure to something in order to induce a voltage, right? So a lot of times you could do it with two pieces of, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like certs. Remember them certs back in the days, like candies and shit? Certs, like mint candies, the mint breath fresheners, certs.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so certs had these crystals in them, retsin, right? And so one of the things that you could do is you could take the two certs pieces of candies dry. You don't want to put them in your mouth and then try it because it wouldn't work. But you squeeze them together and then you apply a little bit of friction to both of them at the same time in a dark room, and then you could get sparks from them.
I remember
part of that is remember, so you used to do that craziness, in the science classroom and stuff. That's an example of the piezoelectric effect taking place. Now, I guess what Reggie might be talking about, I'm taking a guess, I could be wrong, right? And I don't want to say anything wrong, but it sounds as if maybe those bones stacked on top of one another, and having weight applied to them produce some kind of piezoelectric effect.
Oh no, man.
Who's to say?
Yeah, right. I know we're just speculating over here. Bone has piezoelectric properties because of the highly oriented and patterned structure of collagen and collagen's ability to respond to a mechanical load. Okay, I guess throwing a backpack on and rucking mile after mile. Okay, or squatting, weighted squats. That makes sense, I guess. Real shifty. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. And I know I'm getting a little bit weird. Well, fuck. You got weird too, Zach. Shit, with your crazy shit. And I was
know.
like, all right, man, hey man, all right. It's cool. Y'all all quiet and shit, listening to me just fuck up. But it's all cool. You know what I'm saying?
No, man,
y'all motherfuckers like, hey man, I didn't know what the fuck you just said. Okay, sure. I'm like, all right, man. All right. Hey, Perre. How you doing, Marco Nimi? How's everything, man? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Yeah, blood is a life force. Yes. So, okay, let's go back to what we were looking at on my lunch breaks joint. I didn't want y'all to miss out on that. Let's share that again. And I wanted to show you guys this real quick.
To the horse and wagon era, entrapping us on this false map. all technology being reset, traffic, narratives, all 92 and again in the 1920s. So we have 6 different buildings attached to this one building's narrative. This is a clear pattern that we have seen where this is all misdirection and confusion in order to explain away this palace of a building that was constructed by the previous civilization. And we all know this now, where they, of course, hire Mark and his son to get the job done. A clear pattern that is given to these buildings' narratives all over the world. The same source creating these stories over and over. And when you know what to look for, like we do here, it becomes so obvious. So as I was walking around New York City.
Y'all see this shit right here on the deck? You guys see
Yeah.
this on the floor? You guys see a sneaker and stuff like that? This is what I'm talking about. Now, all you New Yorkers in the house, Shifty Shady, pay attention and take a look at that. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I don't know where in New York you've been really, but if you look at the floor right there, right, or the I guess you could say the ground. When I was living in New York, and I would go to the city every weekend, right? I go to Manhattan every weekend. I would be on the sidewalk and I would be looking at that. And I didn't know. I was like, I'd ask my parents, is that the subway? And they were like, no, it's not the subway. We don't know what it is. They really didn't know. They legit didn't know. And so I'm looking at it. And one thing that always sat with me anytime I was in New York, I felt like I was out of place. I felt like I was out of place and just out of time. I don't know why, I just did. There were a lot of these things that didn't feel like they belonged over there because of what we were doing, right? You had cars, you had everything that was new and up to date. And then this stuff felt like it just didn't belong. That's one of those things, right? That thing right there, I said, we'd walk and you'd walk through cobblestone streets, and it didn't make sense. You would walk in the street and there would be train tracks in the street, and they tried to cover it up. And then those train tracks would be exposed because the asphalt would disappear after a while, and it just didn't make sense. And then you get on the sidewalks and then you walk on this, and you would see this all the time, like downtown Manhattan, and it's like it doesn't make fucking sense. I have no idea what that is. You wouldn't even know how to get. I never even knew how to get to that right there. And this is all over New York City.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty amazing how much change people make on their environment though over a short period of time though too, right? Because I mean, just think about how much can be done in 100 years, right? Just from 1920 to now or something. And yeah, you see it in towns. Yeah, I've been to New York City once before. Had a pretty good time there. That was like 12 years ago and stuff. So I really enjoyed it there. But I'm from Montana originally, and some of those towns there just you leave for a few years and you come back and it's it's changed so much, it's grown so much. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, I mean the planning it probably wasn't really planned out very much there. When they were first started building over there on the East Coast, right? So it's got a different feel to it for sure. You know what I mean? When you're over in the Northeast, the older cities for sure.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it does. It just feels, it's a weird feeling. And it's funny, Shifty Shady Eyes says that because as a kid, I used to hate going to the city. And it just so happens that we'd leave Brooklyn, we'd go to Manhattan every fucking weekend. And I was like, oh my God, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It was just crowded. It was noisy. The only thing that I liked, the smell of hot dogs and pretzels and knishes on the street. Really, that was like the only saving grace to me in New York. Other than that, it was noisy. It was always crowded. And I was like, God dog it. It just got on my nerves. But you see that is pavement lighting. I don't know what that is. No, I don't know what that is, Kim Ray. Like these things were on the sidewalk next to these grates, and they were embedded in the streets, and they were old. And I'm like, God dog, man, They were everywhere. This was everywhere in New York. And it just never made sense. Now, I'm not saying that it's something strange. I'm not, it very well could be, right? Okay, pavement lighting. Pavement lighting. Which is funny because I've never seen those things lit up. I've never seen those things lit up and produce light too much. I just never seen it. But when I saw it as a kid, I'd walk on it and I'm like, why is this glass here? Stuffed beagle. Stuffed beagle. Okay, I'll check him out. Stuffed beagle. Yeah, but all over New York City, it just felt so strange. And you'd go in a lot of those old structures and stuff would be made of marble and you'd see these old this, and old that. You go in the subway, the turnstiles are made of wood, and it smells out of place. It looks out of place, and it's just like, just the stuff just seems strange. Everything seems strange. They've demolished some of these things now since I was a kid, and they've put some new stuff, especially in the subways. As a matter of fact, the subways are supposed to be super old, like old. You know, the subways in New York. And I thought this was some stuff that we created, to be honest with you. So the sunlight shines through it. I did not know that. I don't know how the sunlight shines through it. That's strange. That's really strange. So he says the old structures under the sidewalk that you can still get to from the new building, it's to get light into the basement. Into the basement. How do you get light? To get light into the basement. Okay, the basement of what? Maybe the basement of different buildings? Never see those things get exactly. You never see those things get cracked. It's some thick ass like glass or something.
I should have paid more attention when I was there, man. It was my drinking days. I was having a good time, man. When I was there, I wasn't paying attention to all this.
It's to light the sidewalk basements. They give tour of them in Oregon and Washington. Yes. Now, Oregon, I didn't know, but yes, Washington apparently has a subterranean, an underground life that's been around there for a while as well. I learned that when I was out there in Washington. They have these weird subways in Washington too. There are rooms underground. Boston Ray knows about it too. Down into the underground. Okay. Yes. Sun. Wow. Basement. Yeah. There are many abandoned old subway tunnels that aren't listed at the modern maps. Yeah. Okay. I believe that. I could believe that. I could see that. There are whole colonies of people that live down there called the Mole People. Wow. The people under the stairs in New York City style. It's glass. And they do get broke. Wow. Oh, I've never seen them get broke before. That's interesting. And I'd love to see, I wouldn't love to see them get broke, but yeah, it's a super thick glass and I've never seen them break. Shines through down the prism of that thick glass. Okay. ABC. All right. I'm going to check that out. Thank you, ABC. I appreciate that. Here, watch that later. Definitely will. Matter of fact, let me go there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to save that. Thank you, ABC. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Now, where we at? Okay. Cars and trucks will drive over them and they're okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, everything walks on them, and they look old. They look a little bit dingy because everybody's walking on them. But yeah, they're like thick as hell. Elon making a tunnel company. I think tunnels already exist. Yes. Now, one of the tunnels that exists that we just learned about recently was at the Synagogue of Satan tunnel in Brooklyn. If you guys don't know, we lost Zach. We lost him. But if you guys don't know, in Brooklyn, we just had, I think in March, the Synagogue of Satan. They had their tunnels exposed. You guys know what I'm talking about. they had a tunnel in one of their temples in Brooklyn. And those tunnels, from what I heard, went for miles and miles throughout New York City. Nobody knows how long they've had those tunnels down there, but them Synagogue of Satan folks in there had access to a lot of stuff. They had access to a lot of stuff, and it was so bad they started fighting with the police. They started to fight with the police, and then after they fought with the police didn't really get nobody in trouble, and then they filled those tunnels in that area up with cement. They filled them up with cement. Zach Sullivan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry, man. I dropped out there. I think my phone's about to die.
It's okay.
But hey, I probably gotta jump off here, Vlad.
Okay.
But I just want to, yeah, thanks for letting me come on. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, everybody out there, hope you have a happy Thanksgiving this week. Hopefully, you get to spend some time with family and get into all kinds of fun arguments and all that kind of stuff, and have a decent meal or something.
Get some more flat earthers out there in the family. That would be amazing.
All right, take care, man.
All right,
Thanks
peace,
again.
brother. You be safe. You got it, man.
Yeah.
See you on Tuesday. All right, y'all. That was Zach. Zach is gone, man. Good guy. We learned quite a bit from him today. Yeah. So, Dislord, go ahead. Say what you're saying, man. Say what you're going to say about the sewers and stuff.
Oh, that was just it. I just saw something about it once, and I've been looking into YouTube channels, going down, looking at stuff that's sewers now, but seems to be part of a bigger complex of something underground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've always wondered about that, how they made the sewers, and how, like, I'm looking at our civilization. I'm like, who made that? How did they make that?
Yeah.
It's so well put together. It's so well made. Our sewers and our sewer system. They let the daylight in. Okay. Yeah, I hope everyone has a happy Turkey Day. Okay, if you celebrate, yeah, that's what's up. Couldn't come above ground for some reason for a while. Maybe they're the ones that are operating New York City. Who knows? Who knows? But let's look at what they have to say about this thing. Let's continue.
I noticed that the subway was under the sidewalk, obviously. And we know that these buildings are most likely bigger than we can see. And the street level is most likely not the foundation of New York City. And this is when I found all of these other places in New York City while walking around. The sidewalk that we are walking on is not what you think it is. It is the ceiling to the underworld, where you can clearly see that this is the case, that the true foundation of the old world is below our feet. New York City right now, today, has so much more going on under the street, and has so much more than we can all physically see. You can even see the lights coming up from underneath the city, where we can go over to the New York Public Library, a palace library, in the middle of all of this, where you no longer have to travel to Italy to see this kind of architecture. Thank you to Donkeys Incorporated. We have it here in the USA as well, where they knocked this thing out in less than a year, telling us that on May 23rd, 1895, Bigelow agreed to create the New York Public Library. The plan was hailed as an example of private philanthropy for the public good, of course. Very nice. Well, May 23rd, they began. And December 11th, a great Christmas present for New York. The building names its first director, and this thing is done. Where they tell us on their website that they, of course, held another design competition for this.
Yeah. I don't know about all that. I'm not going to say, at the end of the day, let's end that one right there. At the end of the day, I'll tell you what, it just sucks because we weren't there. We weren't there. Some of our families like, yeah, I've seen that thing my whole life. I didn't know too much about it. That we've got somebody in the chat over here who's had family that, or who had a neighbor that lived and worked in a lot of these or one of these buildings, and they got to see quite a bit, right? So if you're paying attention to your surroundings, like, you may notice some things. And it sounds like your neighbor might have noticed something shifty. Yeah, it was Shifty that said that. And the aqueducts. I think all the big cities have been in the tunnel, have tunnels. Okay, right. Somebody just said Atlanta. Yeah, it was ABC that said Atlanta. Right. And then we know that they have them in Washington. I just learned Oregon has some. Um, Florida might have Florida. I don't know about if Florida have them. They have a really high water table. But California might have them. Wouldn't surprise me if Arizona had them. And they're just connecting these places. They're connecting these states, even though states are something that we made up. But I'm sure there's connections from East Coast all the way to the West Coast of New York, of the United States. What do you think? What do you think, 21 Disc Lord? About this whole thing, just this underground, this craziness.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yep.
I'm looking at a lot of those channels where they go down underground and into old things underground everywhere. You know, crawling around and old mines and old buildings, and I find that underground stuff very interesting.
Yeah. And it's it's just so strange, especially when you go out to the Midwest where apparently there's nothing, but then you find much of the same thing.
Have you looked at the channel Paul Cook?
Paul Cook. No, let me see.
Paul with an A.
Paul. Paule?
No E.
Paul.
Paul.
Paul. Okay.
And Cook, like cooking.
Okay.
COOK.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Paul Cook. All right.
He
I got it.
He does some interesting stuff. He's I forgot what his profession is, but he's in the construction business, and
Okay.
he goes around checking out old stuff that's kind of concealed and hidden from us, in plain sight, and shows how the buildings, from his expertise, doesn't match up with the story and how it's built and how some of it is older and it's built on top of this and stuff like that.
Okay. So Alan and them, I think they're saying plumber. I don't know if Paul Cook is a plumber. Okay.
Yeah.
Gravity collapsed the tunnels. Gravity collapsed the tunnels. Yeah. The mine was called Lornex Mine in Kamloops because Canada was owned by the Germans. Just the thought of it. Yeah. Huh. His dad was the foreman. Her dad was the foreman, the George Foreman of the place. Just kidding, not George Foreman. But he was the foreman. Okay. All right. This is weird. This is weird. But I think we need more people like that, like structural engineers, architects, damn plumbers, guys that deal with infrastructure to that degree, in that kind of way, where they could be like, there's no way in hell that we could have put something like that together. You know what I'm saying? With their expertise and stuff, come out and talk about these things. I think that would be helpful. I think that would totally bridge a gap in our understanding of things and kind of make some things make sense if we heard it from their perspective.
Yeah.
Found giant
Yeah,
bones.
Paul, he shows some things. He shows some examples of old buildings seemingly having plumbing, having had plumbing,
Oh,
and
old
showing
buildings
how,
like the ones that we're looking at.
like underground stuff and and just the big ones, they are hiding in plain sight and stuff. He shows how he believes they might have had plumbing.
Wow. They found giant remains where my dad used to work. What? Said that it was whale bones. Where did your okay? He was the foreman where? Giant human giant remains. Yeah, I see. Mines are another whole angle. Okay. Wow. Man, oh man. This place just keeps getting stranger and stranger. And stranger. And then freaking my lunch break is coming. He's got another video coming out at 11 o'clock this morning, Eastern Standard Time. He's got another video coming out, if you guys don't know. They have mounds in Oklahoma where they found giant bones. Right. Apparently, they also have them in Michigan, too. All throughout the Midwest, they have a lot of these mounds. Ohio is another one, apparently. Think link histories into mysteries, mythologies. So dwarves advance metalwork. Right. All the old world achievements, basically. Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada. A mine doesn't just spring up. No, it doesn't. I believe it, Jimmy. Strange indeed. Strange indeed. Okay. Mounds are all over in my area. So, and right, okay. I knew I wasn't tripping. I was like, yes, apparently they got these mounds all there. So, I wonder then. I wonder if this is why certain places that you own property, even if you own the property, they won't let you like dig. They won't let you just dig in those places. Even if you own the property, they won't let you dig.
Yep.
This is okay. Okay. Now, to kind of go off on all of that, there is this movie. I wonder if it's in there. Here it is. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it in the chat. I want you guys to take a look at it. I haven't seen it yet, but we only own 6 inches of topsoil. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't done any research into that, but this is what apparently this is. We only own 6 inches of topsoil. The rest they own. Weird. You can't dig. Exactly. Actually, even in your own yard, you're only allowed to take a certain depth, and I think it's 5 to 6 feet. Jesus, man. Wow. Even if you want to dig an underground pool, you must have a permit and get the okay that it's the area that they will agree to. Wow. You can own land, but not the mineral rights. There we go. Yeah, you guys are just starting to confirm what I was hearing, and I gotta look into that. Yeah, you have to get a permit to do an architectural dig. Jesus. They don't want us to fight. Yeah, they don't. They don't. And then we start getting people to crowd around it, look at it and shit. And then what they'll be like, you know what they'll say? They'll be like, oh, that's an old ancient Indian burial ground, or that's an old prayer mound. Yeah, we're going to get the state on it, and we're going to bring one of our shaman. And what they do is they bring an Indian guy dressed up in feathers. They say he's going to bless the place, and then they're like, all right, you have to stop digging or else you're going to disrespect. That's what they do. That's what they do. You're going to disrespect the people. This is an old burial ground. You're going to disrespect the people that died and that are buried here, and it's going to fuck it all up. Now, 75% of the state of Nevada belongs to the federal government. I can see that. Wow. I can see that. Check this out. So right here is Hibbler's Old World Order. That's that movie, Old World Order, and it's free. It's free. The Hibbler Productions Old World Order. And so apparently my lunch break was with was with Hibbler himself, and they did Chicago. They went to Illinois out there, and they did a lot of discovery. They figured out a lot of things. They tried to go a little deeper. They couldn't, and all kinds of crazy stuff happened. I hadn't seen the movie. I need to check it out. But Old World Order, that's it right there. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and look into pinning that right there. I'll go pin that. So that's Old World Order right there. There it is, family. ABC's over there smoking that blunt. ABC just smoking on that L, boy. But fam, what time is it? It's almost 3 in the morning, baby. Fam, we're gonna have to call it a show for the night. We are going to have to call it a show for tonight. I don't know. I may get on tomorrow. It depends on who's out, who's up. Depends on what you guys want to do. But there are a couple of things I wanted to show you that I wanted to hold on to. But it's Saturday, and I probably might not be having anything to do, so I could definitely show off to y'all. Yeah, I ain't doing shit, so I might come on early tomorrow. I don't know. I could very well come on early tomorrow, and if you guys are up for it, we could talk and we could BS. I
Early is
appreciate
good.
you. Yeah, early is good. Early is better. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to be too early to where I'm catching the Europeans in bed. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in Europe knocked out and shit. So,
Yeah. It's morning
but
here now.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, it's like what, 9 o'clock?
Yeah, it's becoming 9.
Yeah, 9 o'clock in the morning for you. Okay. All right. So, family, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna call it a show. But Disclord, do you have anything for the family before we call it a night?
No, check out Paul Cook if you haven't, and that's about it.
Paul
And have a
Cook.
good one.
All right. I'm gonna check him out. All right, family. That's it for tonight. Well, I went ahead and I left that link for Hibbler Productions show, or his movie rather. That is Old World Order. Check it out. And tell me what you guys think. I think I'm gonna probably listen to it. You know, I'm gonna go brush my teeth and I'm gonna listen to that as I go to bed. So yeah, that's what that is. But family, hey, I really appreciate y'all coming out for tonight and enjoying Flat Earth Friday with us tonight. We did a lot of talking. We did a lot of discovery. We did a lot of discovery. We did a lot of figuring some stuff out. And don't forget, y'all, I know the stuff may be going over some of our heads, but the more we learn, the more it'll start to make sense, I guess. You know?
Mhm.
The more we learn, the more it'll start to make sense. Anyway, family, that's all I got. I'm going to leave y'all my blessing. I wish us all the best health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity, and most of all, wisdom, 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 family.
Best of the best.
That's right. And I wish y'all love, happiness, all of that. And with that, family, I love you. I am out. Probably see you tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.
Au revoir. Arrivederci. Good night.